It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 12:30 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Hope you guys are ready for another day of sports talk action. We've been rolling, man. I told you guys, don't worry. I know the off season's here and things seem they slow down, but I once heard this a while ago, man. There's always going to be something to cover. There's always going to be something new in the news, and there's plenty to talk about. And today we got some good stuff to dive into. We talked a little bit about the Senior Bowl going on. Got three players down there. You got Tim Keenan, defensive tackle. You got Josh Cuevas, the tight end, and you got LT Overton, the edge. And they're doing some good stuff down at the Senior Bowl. But we also got to hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer. First time that we've heard from him in quite some time. At least it feels like it's been quite a while. But we're going to listen to that interview. I think it's about 13 minutes or so. We'll listen to the whole thing through, just in case you guys haven't heard it. I'm sure probably some of you have. But we'll listen to it together. We'll react. I listened to it yesterday, but I want to make sure all of our listeners hear before we talk about it. A number of things were discussed, a number of questions were asked regarding some of the most recent changes that have been made. Definitely talked about the portal additions, kind of where this roster stands right now. So a lot of good stuff that we'll listen to and break down here on the show. Plus, there are some big news. Now, we talked about this yesterday, at least I mentioned it, that everybody was pretty much expecting Latham to return. Now it is officially in the news. But if you listen here, you know, right? We told you guys yesterday that was the expectation. Matter of fact, I mentioned that I think last week that the expectation was he would be back, barring any big changes. But as of now, that's still in play, and everybody's excited about that. I know. I think I mentioned it before, but really big. You say addition, he's already been here, but you get what I'm saying. We've been talking a lot about that bandit position, especially yesterday, saying, hey, there's just still some question marks, in my opinion. And that is something that gives you a lot more confidence knowing you're getting a guy back that's been here. He's got the experience, and he's a good player as well. He can do a number of things well for you. So big news there. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail later on. But first, let me remind you guys again, 205-342-9904 is the number to the program if you guys want to get in on the conversation. Don't think we have anybody lined up outside of Brandon Clear at 11:30. So that's an early one. So after that, we should be cleared up, no pun intended, for the rest of the show. So if you guys want to jump on the phone lines, maybe aim for about 11:50 or so after we finish with Brandon, and we'll take you guys' calls. We'll talk about what we hear from Coach DeBoer. We'll talk about any news and updates that come out as well, and we'll keep on rolling from there. Plus, I want to remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars. If you guys are looking for a place to go watch any sporting event, whether it's basketball, football when it comes back, baseball season coming up, all that good stuff, R&R Cigars is a place to do it. Plus, they are home of the best humidor in the Southeast. Go get yourself a nice stick, pair it with a nice drink. Drink responsibly, but they do have over 160 bourbons right there for you guys at R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa. Plus, they've got their website, rnrcigars.com, where you can go and you can place your order. Use that code Miller's Edge, get yourself a discount. Take advantage of it while it's there for all of our listeners. Again, that is code Miller's Edge on their website, R&R Cigars. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. A couple other things, Chase Reed, our producers behind the glass, that I've seen. I always have to do my morning sweep of X just to kind of see what all is going on. That's where I pretty much get my news from. Not sure if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. But I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's been a lot of news with the whole Ole Miss thing. We talked about it with them allegedly. I don't know if it's really allegedly anymore. I think Clemson had receipts, but texting, trying to tamper with some of their guys, or at least their one guy that they just brought in via the portal. Well, it sounds like there might be some more stuff coming out regarding another school and another player. Now, again, I just saw it on X, so I don't know how valid it is or if the report is accurate, but it looked pretty accurate to me from first glance. But maybe we'll talk a little bit about that I think the biggest thing I would say to anybody that's kind of shocked by that is probably don't be. Then if you think Ole Miss is the only school that has done that or does that, you'd be mistaken. That's pretty common practice, unfortunately. But it just seems like now people are starting to speak up. Which my question is, could we see this being a new trend? Could this be a thing where other schools start speaking up, and maybe that's like one of the first, I guess, steps to start kind of handling this whole thing and maybe trying to work towards some better or at least more concrete rules and regulations. I don't know. Normally people get clowned for snitching, but Dabo pretty much did just that. He pretty much snitched on on Ole Miss in public, and it might lead to something. So who knows, man? Shout out to Dabo for snitching and maybe changing some college football. So that said, the only other thing I forgot to mention this yesterday, and we could talk about it a little bit. Speaking of college football, was the fine system that Deion Sanders, Coach Primetime, allegedly had rolled out for his athletes. I think it got leaked. Somebody maybe had a picture of it, and then it had been going around, making its way on social media. But I want to discuss this because I think a lot of people were thinking, he might be the first or he just did that. Similar to what we just talked about the tampering. Believe it or not, he's not the only school or coach that has adapted this philosophy. And to me, it makes sense. Listen, when you play in the NFL, you're hit with fines. If you're late, you miss something, it's very common practice. And it only makes sense, right? We're getting closer and closer to being just another pro league, it feels like. I think the fines are just kind of a byproduct of that. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. That said, we're going to hit our first time out. We come back, we get rolling. We'll listen to Coach DeBoer. Then again at 11:30, we will have Brandon Clear on the phone lines. We'll discuss things with him, and we'll keep on rolling from there right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's a crime to pay more than one dime down. So get to Tuscaloosa.
I don't know why the ads and stuff on the radio side sound like that. Chat, can y'all hear the bumper music or like the ads? Let me turn them back on. Like I hear them, but they sound like real low.
In the Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned event. Visit Mercedes.
All right, sounds better now. Maybe it's just me. Who we got in here? Let's see. Yeah, Kenji, what's up? Phil, what's going on? Dwight, what's up? Yeah, I got to hurry up. I was talking too long. I got to get to this thing so we're not too late with Brandon. Worst case, we'll cut it a little bit short. Dump, what's up? Superfly, what's going on, man? BJ, what's up? My guy Christian, Jake, what's up? Really happy Latham can play football again. Neck injuries are always scary. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I wasn't even too sure how that whole thing would go, but I knew. I mean, that was kind of the goal, to get back out here. And like I said, I mean, the expectation was for him to return. It just hadn't been publicly announced. That's why I just kind of subtly dropped it. But now that it's official, that is good news. It kind of changes the outlook for that bandit position a little bit more, in my opinion, now. But just like any injury, I mean, I'm assuming if they're clearing him to play football, he should be good to go, 100%. But definitely is a scary thing, man. I mean, my dad had a neck injury. My dad had what did he have? He had a slip disc, I think. Doctors told him not to return to football. Now he didn't have surgery like Latham did, but or maybe he have something? I don't think he did. I just know they told him you shouldn't play football again. He got second opinions, came back to play. I think he's fine. So, but definitely some big news. Nicholas, what's going on? Let's see. DeBoo. Is that a play on Coach DeBoer's name, or is that just that name? Please make sure. Oh yeah, if you guys have it, man, hit that like button. We always appreciate that, man. Y'all have been crushing. I think yesterday I think we ended up around like 150, which is great, man. Goal is every day we want to hit at least 100 likes. Not that that necessarily does anything. It really just helps push it on the algorithm, helps more people see the channel, join, which makes it more fun for you guys, makes the chat more active. So make sure you guys smash that like button. It takes 2 seconds, completely free, man. It helps keep everything free, honestly. Conrad, what's up? Any tight end news? Nah, I mean, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure they're probably doing their due diligence and trying to find somebody that they feel like is a good fit. But um, All right, cool. You guys can hear that. Sounds the same. Perfect. All right, good deal. Maybe it's just mine. Joey Fromm, what's up? Sorry, I'm trying to get to everybody before we come back real quick. We got Kimberly. We got James. I think I hit Crystal already. Got a new mic. I sound different. Does it sound worse? Better? How's it sound? It's the same mic right now. I'm still trying to figure out the whole the aux setup, but it should be good. Maybe I can adjust my gain. Maybe it's too low. I don't know. Who knows, man? With this tech, it's all over the place. I haven't ordered one, Joey. If you know about aux mics, please fill me in, man. Did it surprise me that he sounded so high on the D line? It didn't really surprise me. I get what you're asking because it's based off of kind of how I've been speaking, but it didn't surprise me. I mean, you expect him to talk high of the guys that he brought in, and right? I mean, they brought him in, and I wouldn't expect anything different, but nah, I wouldn't think it really surprised me. But that's a good question, though. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's do this. All right. We're going to start this Coach DeBoer interview now. We're going to have to cut it short because we got Brandon at 11:30. Worst case, I might just text him and see if we can push him back like 5 minutes. But I want to get this out the way. Shouldn't say out the way. I want to get to this now rather than later so we can have something to break down and really discuss, because there's a number of things that he mentioned in this interview that I thought were interesting. So I definitely want to listen to it with you guys and discuss it. So that's what we're going to do right here. This was head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, updating on how life is right now as we just finished up portal season for the most part.
It's good to be down here in Mobile, and just appreciate the city and everyone that puts this event on for our guys to be evaluated. Good to see, TK and haven't the chance to see LT yet or Cuevas, but excited about their opportunity here, and obviously beyond here and down the road at the next level. So coaching staff's out on the road, a couple weeks here, and wrapping that up. So a lot of recruiting going on, and teams back at work in the weight room, and looking forward to get back with them. So they're working hard, and it's crazy how the quick turnaround happens. You play one day and you're back rolling and putting the team together for the next. So excited to get back on campus here next week and get back to work.
You recently made a change at offensive line coach. What went into that decision, and walk us through kind of that thought process?
Yeah, just I think it's about production, and we know we got to be better there. Mindset and just execution, the details of the fundamentals that the guys need. So a lot of new faces that are going to be in that room. So kind of a fresh start there.
I know he was out on the road recruiting the morning that it was announced that there would be a move. Can you explain why Petrovic was out there and kind of pitching where you guys are and what kind of that role was?
Yeah, I just think that there's different avenues and directions that I was still thinking about going, and just came, apparent to me what direction I was probably looking to go to as the week went on.
What will Derek Nix bring to the wide receiver room?
I just think that, so far what I've seen is what I was hoping for. And it's just a guy who's been around the league, a guy who, has the experience. And I love the way that he just was really down to earth and relates to our guys. I think they appreciate that already from him. Very diverse from a coaching standpoint. He's coached different skill positions, different groups. But love how he's been at, for the most part, places for longer periods of time. Just some stability there is something that I think I appreciate. And didn't have really a choice here at last stop, but looking forward to working through the offense with him. I'm a receiver guy, and looking forward to some time with him and developing the guys that we have. I think we got a great group that he's excited about, coaching up.
During the season, you mentioned that Ryan's struggles, at least on some level, were about him putting pressure on himself. Do you think part of Derek Nix's role is going to be to kind of put Ryan back together mentally a little bit?
Yeah, I think all of us, that's our job as coaches, is to, in the development process. I mean, there's a piece where it's skill development. It's just the piece with the psychological part, all that for every player. And so I would expect that from our coaches, and certainly as pertains to Ryan, I think he's going to have a big year ahead. I'm excited to again get to work with him here in the offseason, correct the things that we feel are correctable, and him continue to grow and go have a big year.
How do you think the portal class came together?
Yeah, I feel we addressed some areas that we either needed going into the portal or numbers wise, and I think there's some areas we really strongly upgraded, and so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about what the not just the skill set of these guys are that are coming in, but also who they are as people and the character. We have some guys who, whether they were voted team captain last year or probably were going to be, I think we got those type of guys in at multiple positions. I'm really looking forward to getting back on campus and seeing them operate. I've heard great things as far as how they fit in and how they've mixed in with our current roster. And, that's what you're really trying to make sure of. And yeah, we got to have the skill, but we also got to have the chemistry. And, these guys, I think for the most part, from what I've seen, and it's a quick turnaround. Like, you get a weekend, some phone calls with them, their family members, or whoever's important to them. And you're having to make quick decisions just like they are. And so can't say we batted 1,000 because I haven't spent enough time with them, but I really like the group that we have brought in. Offensive line, we needed some guys that could step in with 5 guys graduating. Not all of them obviously were starters. A couple guys that are leaving for the NFL with Parker and KP. And so, we needed numbers, but we also needed the quality to go put out there on the football field, offensive line. So that was a heavy focus.
What's the sense of urgency like, though, when you have all those new guys in there and you're going to have a new position coach on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be a position group that's going to generate a lot of our attention, whether it's mine, whether it's Ryan Grubbs, just the coaching staff in general that work with the offensive line. We all, got to help our coaches learn the system quickly. But there's enough continuity, enough of us that can help these new guys come in and hit the ground running.
With what's going on in college basketball right now with Charles Bediako, how do you think that could translate over to college football? If a guy's on an NFL practice squad and wanted to come back to the college ranks?
I kind of started processing that, but I don't know if I really have the answer. That's stuff that's something that's way beyond me, I guess. And I'm sure there'll be some decisions and some examples that we'll learn more of as people try to press the issue when it comes to the football side of things as related to that situation. So again, that's stuff that's beyond me.
I know Deontay's not here, but what does he bring to an NFL locker room and some of the ways that you're excited to see him take his game to the NFL?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how he would feel. I'd like to hear what he would say, but I think having him play another year of football and what he did as far as his growth, not just as a football player, but as a leader, him being more vocal. And again, he might have been more vocal before I came here. In my first year, he was just maybe kind of feeling it out and what I was looking for. But this last season was a special one. The way I look at it for him and his growth. And I think he, by the end of the season, was not a different player, but another level of player. And an organization who has him in their program is going to have a guy that's a high character, high quality guy that cares, is a great teammate, goes out there and has football instincts, makes plays. And I thought he got better as a football player last year. And I also know he improved physically, was running as fast as he'd ever run in the 5 years, I guess, that he was there.
How important, how do you think the talent retention piece went? How important was it to get both Keelan and Austin back?
Yeah, it's huge. 2 guys that know our system at quarterback. Just the way, again, with an offensive line that's got some leaders that are gone, 2 quarterbacks that can carry over from last year what we did and keep it moving forward. I think retention-wise, I just think you're going to lose some guys. I mean, really, this was less guys we lost in the portal, this year compared to last year, and it was definitely more than the year before. I think we were in the mid 30s or low to mid 30s. And that was a different circumstance with Coach Saban retired and the portal being open. But compared to the ending of the 24 season, we had more guys enter the portal that year. And so I think the difference really is that we had a few more graduates. And so from a retention standpoint, there were guys that I really probably thought were going to leave a year earlier that stuck it out one more year. But again, I feel good about the guys that we've brought in, and I feel great about the guys that decided to stay, because they really want to be here and they're important players, from guys that started to guys that had a lot of extended playing time that are looking to extend their roles. Really looking forward to this spring.
All right, so we're going to take a quick timeout here because we got Brandon Clear coming up next when we come back, and then we'll piggyback off of that interview and we'll break down what we heard from Coach DeBoer. A lot of things to talk about. You gave us thoughts on the portal class, some answers on some coaching changes, and some more definitely important things we got to discuss. But we'll do that here coming up in a minute. But first, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll be joined by Brandon Clear, former Clemson wide receiver. We come back and we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Brooke Meisner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Visit.
All right, we got Brandon ready to go, not glow. But we got him ready to go. Let's see, we got 73 in here. Let's check our likes. All right, not bad. We got 20. Let's see if we can get that up to 50. We got 73 people watch. It's easy. We need 30 people to hit that like button that hadn't hit already. If you hit it, don't hit it again because that will unlike it. But if you haven't, slide over to that like button real quick. I appreciate that, man. We got Brandon Clear coming up. Then we'll finish this later. But I definitely want to discuss a number of things on there. Oh, what's up, guys? Offsides. Trent Seaborn, that's the quarterback, right? I remember when he was in like middle school. I think he came up to camp here or something. Like when he was in middle school, people were talking about because he didn't he win a state championship in like 8th grade or something? Or he was an 8th grader. But I think he was playing varsity. Just hope they get the physicality back. They used to have. I hate watching other teams pushing Bam around. Man, that really comes from. I mean, you just got to have the guys, right? I mean, it really boils down to the type of players that you have. Like physicality, like you definitely can establish a culture and identity of physicality, but it really is important to get the guys that have that mentality. You get what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit of both, but there's only so much a coach can do when it comes to physicality. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. You normally can't really just coach that into somebody. Kim, what's up? Happy Friday Eve. But I mean, we'll have to see. Like I said, I mean, it's so early. It's hard to tell. I can only go off of some like the tape I watched. Some of these new guys coming in, and I don't know, but I think also the culture can help play a part in some of that. Defensively, I know he talks about being bigger and longer and whatnot. Which I do think the guys that we're bringing are better athletes. I can't say if you're talking about like the physicality standpoint, I can't say the tape on the guys that I watched from the defensive line displayed a lot of that, like that, high level physicality. But we'll have to see, I guess. We'll have to see. Yeah, 100%. Nah, definitely. I mean, the mentality piece is big, but I've always been a believer that you still have to kind of have that in you already. You know what I mean? Like, if a guy's not physical, it's hard to really coach him to be physical. Patriotic, I'm good, man. I appreciate you asking. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. I've definitely had a lot of stuff come up this week, but we're good, man. But always nice to be on here hanging out with you guys. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Just heard from head coach Kalen DeBoer. We'll pick back up on that interview, a few minutes left of that. But we had to go to the phone lines because we're joined by our friend, former Clemson wide receiver, who we've let that slide just because he's a cool dude, Brandon Clear, who joined us on Thursdays. Now, Brandon, welcome in, man. How's your week been?
Christian, doing great. Miller's Edge family, again, as always, thanks for having me. I'm doing wonderful, man. Just trying to stay warm because we got hit with a massive amount of snow, which has turned to ice. So you already know how it is. Well, maybe you don't know how it is, but it's crazy to get clearing that out.
I was about to say, I know a little bit about it. I mean, growing up in South Carolina is very similar climate-wise to Alabama, even culturally. I mean, it's not too different. So, I mean, I have a little bit of experience with it, but no, I can imagine where you're at is probably worse. I thought we were going to get, I guess, some snow here, but I saw some flurries for like a day, maybe. It didn't even stick, which is probably a blessing. You know, folks down south, you know this, you're from Alabama. We don't know how to act when you get ice and snow on the road. I feel like I'm a lot of other people. I get nervous, man. But yeah, so but hopefully it's clearing up for you guys. So is it supposed to clear up? Like, I mean, is it going to warm up soon? Or I'm pretty sure it's supposed to stay cold for another, I don't know, a few days at least, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. Unfortunately, it's not going to get any warmer, and they're even looking at a potential flurry happening this weekend. So with the high being in like 25, 29 degree range, this is going to be like probably the normal for the next 2 weeks. So just pray for us, man. This is crazy.
We'll be praying for you. We'll be praying for you. Well, at least you probably got some time to kind of, sit inside and watch some. I guess there's not really football to watch, but you can kind of keep up with everything going on. I know last time we talked, Brandon, we talked a good bit about the portal class, some of these later additions, Alabama picking up, offensive tackle. I think he might have been the last guy so far. We talked about the receiver from high school that Alabama ended up signing. Let me ask you this while we're talking about that. Do you see them making any more moves? I mean, one thing that people forget is, or maybe they don't, but the portal is still technically open, right? I mean, you can't join it, but there's a number of guys that are still sitting in there. And I think scholarship numbers wise, Alabama might still be able to add a couple players. Just going off of where we're at now, I mean, do you see Alabama potentially adding another name, maybe two, via either the portal or even high school recruiting, because that signing day it's not here yet. We got a couple more days until that. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's crazy because I think once Jamarian Latham, that was fantastic news. He's not going to, cause massive disruption on the line. He's a try-hard guy, has some ability, and I think that him being a dual-use type of athlete, it's going to be effective, so you can probably play him a little bit at the Wolf. I'm hoping they put some more weight on him and he could help out at Bandit. We just don't know if he's recovered fully from his injury, so I think that that's going to be a determining factor if they end up hitting the portal again. And, at this point in time, Christian, there's just not someone that's going to be able to come immediately in and make an impact. So you're really going to be going after the depth guys. So maybe there's a late signing that happens from the high school ranks because you do got to fill out your practice squad. I think that there might be a potential move in the portal if there's some injuries during the spring. So that typically will happen. But for the most part, it seems like the team is set in the sense that I think the coaches are really hunkering down in on the retention and going with some of these younger guys that we may not be familiar with, but they have some ability and, working to figure out exactly what impacts they'll be able to have. And so the only way that happens is through reps. So the more is not always merrier, especially if you bring in, someone from the transfer portal that's looking to, have a chance to start. And I just feel like those folks that they've identified, whether it be the guy from Oregon, the dude from USC, bringing those two in to be able to, compete for those starting spots, that's really the only, impact players or potential impact players I see them even, taking a shot on. And also the linebacker from Virginia Tech. I'm just not – I think he has ability. I think he has some potential to be an impactful linebacker. But, Christian, one person I was really taking a look back on, I took for granted, Justin Jefferson. That dude, he brought the licks. And I think that if you go look at his film, he's going to be a better pro than he was a college player because I think he was just untapped potential that was just starting to get there. If he had another year, man, I would even see him moving up to potentially second round, but because of his size, that was always going to be a detriment to him. But he's going to be someone that's going to get on to an NFL team, and I would not be surprised if you start seeing him in the rotation pretty early in his career.
Yeah, it's funny you brought him up. I was just talking with some folks about our linebackers, both from this past season and kind of how things could look moving forward for the 2026 season, since we are replacing all three guys. Yes, we operate with two, but we all know Nakai Hill-Green came in and ended up being that kind of third guy in that rotation. He saw himself in the lineup a lot. And you know what's funny? We actually said, and people are probably going to think this is a hot take, but if you actually turn on the tape, you probably don't think it's that hot of a take, but I could probably make an argument that he was potentially our best linebacker that we had. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you turn on the tape and hear me out, he actually, the way he played the game, he was definitely up there. And that was really close, because if you look at the progress that Deontay Lawson made throughout the course of the year, I thought Deontay looked much better at the end of the year than he did at the beginning of the year, which makes sense. He was coming off that knee injury. He just looked a lot more confident. He was moving much better, and his play just kept getting better and better each week. And then, like you mentioned, Justin Jefferson, he was very solid, and I was big on him going into this year. I thought he was a little inconsistent at times this season, but a really talented guy that I agree with you that I think the more reps that he gets, the better that he can be. And I think he's a guy that could probably excel on special teams. That can keep him in the league a while as well. But definitely going to be tough replacing all three backers. And it's kind of interesting. You mentioned Caleb Woodson from Virginia Tech. To me, he's going to fill in that Justin Jefferson type role, where you have an athletic guy that's very rangy. You know what I mean? That can, probably really you probably could plug Caleb Wilson in that spot where Justin Jefferson was at and probably see a similar result. So I do like that fit. It's just replacing the Deontay Lawson piece. That to me is a question that's going to have to be answered. And it sounded like, I don't know if you heard Coach DeBoer's full interview from yesterday, but he was speaking briefly on the linebacker unit, and it sounded like their game plan at the position, which makes sense given they only brought in one portal linebacker so far, at least, is that they've been, raising these guys up like these young pups, and they're hoping that, they're going to be ready to take on this challenge of replacing the guys that did leave. So that's going to be interesting. And then to your point about Latham, I do believe it gives me a lot more confidence. Like you said, he's not necessarily a game changer off the edge, so to speak, but he's a guy that's got versatility. He started at Bandit. They moved him to Wolf prior to being injured. Probably could move back to Bandit and play that position. I think he was probably still around because he lost some weight when he went to Wolf. To your point, he could put some weight back on. I don't know what he's currently sitting at. He might have gained some weight back. I don't know, but the good news is he's experienced. He's been around the program. He knows what's expected, and to me, that gives me a little bit more confidence, I guess, moving forward with that group. But while we're talking about the roster, Coach DeBoer did use the word, and that's why it's in the YouTube stream title, upgrade. He mentioned that he felt that they upgraded in a number of ways with this roster, with some of the additions that they added via the portal. Now, I know it's way too early for us to say, but I feel like you've had time to kind of go back and watch a couple of these guys. Do you agree with that take that the roster looks to be upgraded, at least in some of these positions, based off of maybe some of the guys that you've seen on tape? Again, way too early to tell. We won't really have a definitive until the season comes, but just kind of where we stand right now and what you might know. Do you feel like it's, okay to say that? Like, do you have enough confidence with that, or where are you at?
Yeah, so I take the approach of Thanos, and he's a great philosopher, right? He said those that remember what was can't really know what can be. And him taking a hammer to that O-line the way he did, getting rid of Coach Cap, that was a clear sign that they had to change out any old thought. And, again, Coach Cap, to his credit, I thought he was a great recruiter. I don't believe he was a great developer, and that's not a slight against him. I just got to go off the results on the field. And so I was listening to Kalen DeBoer, and he was very clear in stating that, my focus was really looking and thinking, how can I improve this O-line? And I had to upgrade. And so upgrade for him is athleticism, size, but size not the way you're thinking. It's getting height in there and getting long-limbed guys, even though they're, center, the two center prospects, they are not the tallest guys, but I think that he has a feel on what works. And again, I think he goes for smart, sharp guys that have a command at center. So you'll see the Michigan center, and then also, the FCS guy come over I think he's going to have a potential starting spot if he's able to really pull it together and, rise to the level of competition. So, again, when he says upgrade, I really think that he was really honing in on the offensive line. I was listening to you the other day, and I can't say definitively that there were upgrades on the defensive line. I'm not gonna cast negative aspersions on the coaching staff, but to say that James Smith leaving and Quay Russaw leaving is an upgrade, I can't say that definitively. Quay, he had injury issues, and him really staying healthy was one of the determining factors I believe they had in not necessarily honoring the payment he felt like he should be compensated for. And so him getting bypassed on the depth chart, I'm assuming the conversations probably went, hey, man, Pierre is turned into an every down back. We view you as a number 2, but a quality number 2, and we're going to pay you as such, right? You're no longer a starter. And I don't think that was in line with what he thought he was. And so he left, and then James Smith and him are tied at the hip. And I also think James Smith probably had a good talking to. And, I think that they have their value, again, to the team was instrumental because I thought they brought a certain edge. But, you also got to look at production. And so I think it's a little bit, I know a lot of people pull up James Smith's production, and it's really hard, man. When you start getting into, the D tackles, it's really hard to understand the impact. But as I watched film, I saw there was still flashes, but not consistent play. And, Senior Bowl's happening. A lot of times when folks, you want to see how things are done and you want to see the intensity and see how things should be, go watch the kid from Michigan, the defensive end that was just blowing past people and just coming with a certain edge. That's what we were missing on the O-line. And I think James Smith and Quay Russaw brought that in instances, but it was never consistent. So, this entire group and the mentality, that's the one tricky part, Christian. I'm curious to see what you think of this. I think we have we have high quality coaches, good humans, but I don't know if we have any, a-holes. And I think, Freddie Roach has some of that in him based off of what I've seen, but I don't know him personally. But we need coaches that have a little bit of chip on them. And I think Coach Clem coming in has that experience working with Bill Belichick and understanding what it takes. They're going to need to be pushed a little bit. And so I'm hoping that, even a coach is bringing in these new players, the coaches have to look introspectively and say, like, how can we get the best out of our team from a mental standpoint? Physical is irrelevant at this point because I think we have the best athletes in the country, or some of the best athletes in the country, but it's a mental game. And so the mental game is something we've been lacking in when we get down. Maybe one time in Oklahoma we were able to bounce back, but a lot of times when someone just put their foot up our, we tuck tail. Florida State did it. Indiana did it. And so that is a mentality thing. That's not an ability thing. There's no way you're going to convince me that anyone on Indiana's team is physically superior to anyone on Alabama's team. But what they did have was discipline, and they had technique, and they had a grit about them that it'll break someone's will. If we're doing tug of war and someone just has a will saying, I won't be beat, you can see it and you can feel it. And if the other guy on the other side breaks and you have them, you own them the rest of the game. And so that is a mental thing that even Coach DeBoer has to work on and make sure his mentality is not being reflected on the team because you are a reflection of your coach. So, again, Coach is a great guy, man. He's very nice, but there's a reason why Saban used to break people's will, and he's only like 5'9". You know what I mean? Like, not a big dude, but his presence was big. And so it's because he could look across the sideline and you knew that he was going to break you. So, yeah, man, that's just my read on the situation.
No, and I think you definitely have a really good read. I agree with pretty much everything. The only thing I'll say is I think with Quay and James, I know it seems, especially just service level, you just assume like, man, these guys are positioned to play a lot of snaps. They're Alabama guys. I mean, it's clearly probably about money, right? But I would just say their situation is probably a little bit different. And to your point about production, I think you also got to look at how they're being utilized as well. I think that plays a part. But without a doubt, you mentioned Indiana and some of these other things and what those guys brought. I agree. I mean, you saw the clips of James Smith after games. I mean, he wanted smoke with everybody. That's the type of attitude and that edge that I feel like we lacked a lot of, and he was one of the few guys that had it. So production, everything aside, I think just from that standpoint alone, that is unfortunate. Even Quay Russaw, I used to watch him. I could watch him choke guys out, setting the edge, and he's one of those, physically gifted guys, heavy-handed defenders. I know people just immediately jump straight to Yonze, and Yonze's been playing great. But, there's something about a physical edge guy who's explosive. I mean, listen, you can't forget Quay Russo. Anytime you ask somebody who's the strongest guy or the pound for pound, like it's him. You met with explosiveness, and we're just watching him last year before he got hurt. He still was putting it together. And I watched him all fall camp, and now I'm just like, man, as soon as this guy continues to really put everything together, I think he would have had a very similar trajectory as of Yonze if he didn't get injured. I truly do. I know they're different players, different builds, but to me, man, I think he had a lot of tools that have not really even been tapped into. And I'm not going to be shocked one bit if they both end up they are ending up at Ohio State, but they end up making a big impact there. But I want to ask you, there's a couple of things you mentioned, and I'm going to try to make it quick because I know, we've only got so much time. But you mentioned the whole situation with Coach Cap being let go, and they bring in Coach Clem. So it's a two-parter. Number one is, how much do you feel like, because right now, even just by hearing Coach DeBoer's answer, he basically said, hey, it's about production. We knew we needed to improve at that spot. That's why we made the decision. I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper to that a little bit later. But let me ask you this. How much do you feel like is completely on Coach Cap versus some of it also being on part of the coordinator and maybe the system, what we're running, or lack of what we're, the lack of consistency and commitment to the running game? And then two, your thoughts on Clem. I'm sure you probably don't know too much about him. Maybe you do. I know I didn't. But in terms of just his background, from what you've seen with him being a former player, like both of us, a guy that, has been under Bill Belichick. He won Super Bowls as a player. He had a really great offensive line unit at Oregon. Just your expectations for a guy like that, who is expected to have to, develop a lot of guys with this offensive line unit. How do you expect that whole situation to go?
So for Coach Cap, to be honest with you, the responsibility and the failure of Coach Cap falls on Kalen DeBoer. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when Ryan Grubb came in, we knew exactly what his system would look like. It looked very different from what Sheridan was running. And even Sheridan had to adjust what they wanted to run because, again, Milroe brings a unique skill set, so they had to modify the offense to fit his skill set. So there's more RPO game, even though it really wasn't RPO. It was just him looking to see if he was going to run. And I think that Coach Cap was adjusting to the style, right? So, getting him being over at Michigan State, it's different. You're working with different types of bodies. And so the pull game and really having guys that understand that the offensive line had to be one unit, you could tell he just didn't have a feel for it. And then to his credit, I will say that him having to have rotating that many guys, it didn't look as bad as it could have been. That is not normal for offensive line play. You might see maybe one position rotate in and out, but the fact that they had different units periodically throughout the game, that would drive me crazy as an offensive line coach, because then I have to adjust my mindset and understand the weaknesses of each person, but how does that weakness stack up to the person next to them? That changes everything. So I saw Coach Cap, he was really good about coaching guys up when there were timeouts and really trying to explain to them, because he was seeing the game. It just, for whatever reason, his voice was not resonating with those guys and it wasn't showing the results. So Coach Cap has to take accountability for the run game not working. But I think Ryan Grubb, he has to look inside himself and say, hey, I've been in two places so far and my run scheme is terrible. Seahawks look like a different team that with me not being there because they can run the ball. They didn't have a new running back. They had Charbonnet. They had Walker. Those are the same guys. Why are they now the top 5 in the league in rushing when I'm gone? And now the play action's there. You see JSN is being used in the way that he should have been used from the jump. Why does the offense look better with me not being there? And so those are questions that you have to continuously ask yourself. You could say that, hey, they got Sam Darnold now. Things are a little bit different. I don't think that's the case. I think that's just scheme. So they've got to, I think Clem, so now transitioning to the second piece, Clem brings a uniqueness because he was also a run game coordinator at certain parts of his career. This guy, again, I'm a Patriots fan, so I actually know Clem. I know of him. I know of Clem. So, again, him understanding run schemes and him knowing exactly what works and understanding different types of defensive schemes. He'll have a football mind. And there's a reason why you look at, again, Tomlin and Belichick, they're not bringing in, dodos to come and coach any parts of their team. They want folks that understand process. They want people that understand execution. So that tells you everything you need to know. And also the guy played in the NFL, right? So that's a different mentality. He'll know what needs to be done in order for those guys to be prepared to play. But I'm hoping if you're Kalen DeBoer, he has to sit down with Ryan Grubb and say, hey, this is going to be a collective effort, and I'm going to offload some of those run game responsibilities to Coach Clem, because Coach Clem will then come in and be able to help install run game, install what his team needs in order to be effective at running the ball, his team being the offensive line. You got to take Grubb out of that. Grubb is going to continue being a floater. And, hey, call the plays, great, but the execution piece, allow Clem to come in and implement his principles and see if it can make a difference. And that's where being humble and knowing that you have to change as a coach, as a leader, Grubb has to show maturity there, and I'm hoping he does, right? You can't be rigid, even though his coaches are pretty rigid. They're like, hey, I've done it my way this long, and I've had success. Why do I need to change? That's what made, again, the great coaches, Coach Saban was great because he was willing to adjust. If he had stuck with having a 240-pound back and didn't turn into the spread offense, there wouldn't have been a Tua, there wouldn't have been the rideouts and all these different types of units you saw because he was willing to adjust. So KDB, him coming in, understanding that the expectations are there. Again, he's following a GOAT, but him having real conversations with his friends, having real conversations with people that he's brought in, I think that's going to really start showing and hopefully this spring and this year that he's willing to make those tough changes and adjustments. So I have hope in him. I'm going to give him all the benefit of the doubt because I've seen progress.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad you answer that because I've taught about that in terms of the Coach Cap situation. Without a doubt, there needed to be better execution on the offensive line front. We all can agree on that part, but I just feel like he's getting so much attention right now where like you just mentioned, I mean, a lot of it does fall, on other, aspects, including the coordinator. And to me, like you just said, another piece to this puzzle that could be very helpful. And I know it's going to be confusing at first, but think about this. Derek Nix, you hire him as a wide receiver coach, but he has a background, and Coach DeBoer mentioned this, where he played running back in college. He was a really good one, by the way. And then he's coached running back units over the course of his coaching career. So hopefully they do take that approach like you're describing, where it's a little bit more by committee, and maybe they're coming together to really establish a true system and plan to put us in the best position to have success on the ground, because it is going to be very impactful. And I think a lot is riding on that. I think if they can find a way to have consistency running the football to become more balanced, I think it fixes so many issues that this offense has seen. I think you'll probably see them play at a much higher level, but it really rides on just that. And so we'll have to just wait and see. But Brandon, man, great stuff as always, man. Chat loves it. Everybody's in agreement. We can all say amen to that. Big thanks for you always joining us on Thursday, and look forward to doing it next week as well. Be safe in that snow. Stay warm, man, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it, bro. Y'all have a blessed one, and roll tide.
Yes, sir. Roll tide. Always get a kick out of it, man. My guy Brandon, he says roll tide. He's a Clemson guy, but maybe we can agree. I'm letting him get away with maybe a roll tide, go Tigers one time. Maybe one day we'll let him slide with that. But for now, we'll stick with roll tide. We got to hit the top of the hour break when we come back. We keep on rolling. Phone lines will be open 205-342-9904. We'll finish up the interview with Coach DeBoer. We'll respond to that, respond to what Brandon just had to say as well. And we'll keep on rolling right here, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Get your life back.
Man, Brandon is he's great, man. Brandon's really, really good, man. Always on point with everything he says. So yeah, by the way, I think somebody asked. So that was Brandon Clear. So Brandon played for Clemson before transferring to I never asked him about his experience transferring because there was no transfer portal. I think it's when he graduated, but then he transferred to, for some reason, is it Illinois? God, I can't remember if it was Illinois or not. Where did he end up transferring to? But anyway, but he's from the Birmingham area. So let's see, where did he transfer to? God, I just want to make sure I get it right. It's either Illinois or I don't think it's Syracuse. I want to say it was Illinois. I can't remember. Long story short, played at Clemson, but he's always spot on with everything, man. He really is. But I hope listen, I hope he's right. That's kind of been my thought process, man. Like, all right, you make the decision to move on from Coach Cap. Understandable for sure. Um, just was probably that time. Just weren't really probably getting the execution that we needed. But to Brandon's point, I think a lot of it also comes from other issues which need to be addressed. And so hopefully those things, and I'm not saying those have to be, you don't have to necessarily dump the coordinator and replace him just yet, but there has to be some changes, even if it's from a philosophy standpoint. That has to be addressed. So hopefully that is the case. Because if not, I just don't think even a guy like Clem coming in is going to make as big of a difference as it could or as it should if you're not giving that person the ability to really, you know what I mean, implement what they feel like could be very effective. I mean, because in terms of, I mean, Coach Cap yelled at guys. He tried to teach them up, but it just, like Brandon said, sometimes it just doesn't always, I guess, I don't know, translate the way it should. I guess that's the best way to put it. I don't know. Let's see. Adam with the super chat. Adam, you're a part of the team. You don't have to do that. Listen, guys, Adam's insane in a good way when it comes to, I mean, Adam's going to support his people, man. Adam's going to support his people. Adam's officially on board with us, man, and he's still dropping super chats like that, man. Adam, you seriously, man, you're too kind. Seriously, brother. Seriously, let me pull this up. Best thing I can say, guys. Again, if you're a supporter of this show, support the people that support this show because they're the ones that put this whole thing together and make it so everybody can enjoy it for free, pretty much. So that's why we just ask you to hit that like button. And anytime we have sponsors, whether it's Asphalt Restoration, Andrew Sports Medicine, all our great sponsors, Brian Hardin Construction, Adam now part of the team, Lamp Brother Law. If you guys need any of those needs, always first and foremost use our sponsors, man. That always helps not only us, but it helps them out. And we're all a big team here, man. So let me, matter of fact, pull up these details. I know Adam's still finalizing all the details, but I want to make sure you guys have everything regardless ahead of time. And we're going to start having Adam on here on Thursdays, right? So Adam will join us at the top of the hour on Thursdays. Coming up, maybe I got to talk to him about when he wants to start, but chopping it up, breaking down some football and stuff like that. So it's going to be good, man. Going to be some really good stuff. We're excited. Wait, where'd it go? Let me pull it up so we can hit it when we come back. Christian, one of Coach Saban's greatest strengths was building a championship mindset, mental toughness on top of elite talent. My concern now is how this team has that same toughness and top end talent. Am I off base? That's a great point. And we kind of were like hitting on that a little bit earlier about just the mentality piece. Just having to that needs. It's just funny how it keeps coming up today because somebody mentioned it earlier in the show. Then Brandon had mentioned it, and then Adam's question mentions it. So a lot of people are clearly feeling the same way. We'll hit that when we come back. But seriously, thank you so much, Adam. I'll get this everything ready to roll. Yeah, seriously, everybody tell Adam big thank you because Adam is huge part of what we're doing, man. Seriously. There's some chatter that Grubb had final say on O-line combinations and OL rotations, which might explain. Yeah, but that's what we're saying is that there probably needs to be some type of discussion type deal, right? Where maybe it's not so much because that's kind of the impression I had as well, and that's why I always keep mentioning with the whole Cap thing is, yes, he's definitely accountable, but you never know. I mean, what was in his control and what wasn't, and sometimes that can play a big role in the success that a coach has. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big thanks to former Clemson wide receiver Brandon Clear, who joins us every Thursday, 11:30. Also, there it is. Also, former Illinois receiver. He did transfer. But again, joins us on Thursdays, man. Always has a phenomenal perspective. Great way of delivering that information and all the insight that he brings, man. We're very thankful for that and appreciate him jumping on here as we kick off hour number 2, which is brought to you by Adam with Lamparello Law. Remember, if you guys are in the need for anything when it comes to academic and career planning, things like mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery, application strategy, personal statements, resumes, and long-term academic and professional planning. Also, legal representation, very important stuff, guys, for students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct matters, First Amendment cases, name, image, and likeness issues. We've heard plenty of those in all criminal defense matters, and known for representing his clients with genuine care, passion, and relentless advocacy. We always appreciate that. If you guys want serious guidance and strong representation from someone who truly has your back, contact Lamparello Law, 201-317-5115. You can reach him also by email, adam@lamparello-law.com, and then the website, which might be finalized or still is being finalized, lamparello-law.com, where you can get more information on all the services. Again, not just representation, but even more in terms of test prep, planning, all types of things, you name it. Lamparello Law will take care of you. Again, that is Lamparello Law, the official representation and legal team of the Miller's Edge. I don't know why I like that so much, man. It just sounds cool. It sounds very official, man. It makes me feel like I need to start wearing a suit and tie when we come on here, man. We got our official legal representation. I've been wanting to have like some lawyer, backing on the show. And it worked out perfect. We got our guy Adam. So make sure you guys take advantage of Adam and the services at Lamparello Law for all of those needs. We got a question from Adam, who also dropped a super chat. Shout out to our guy Adam. He says, Christian, one of Coach Saban's greatest strengths was building a championship mindset and mental toughness on top of elite talent. The concern now is whether the team has that same toughness and top-end talent. Am I off base? Well, first, we're going to agree 100% in terms of, Coach Saban's process was that mindset, the mental toughness aspect. I know from the outside looking in, people will just say, oh, Coach Saban stacked talent, and that's why they were able to go on a run, which no one's denying that. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago in terms of it's not always just, yes, the talent is a big piece, but you're even seeing now. I mean, look at the difference between Indiana and what they were able to do to teams that were more talented, just like Brandon just mentioned. That always bothers me when people they try to make it seem like Coach Saban's success was only because he had better talent, which I'm not going to sit here and deny that we had better talent than majority of teams. That's just a fact. That it is true. You can go back and look at who we had. You can look at the careers they're having even to this day in the league. We had some damn good football players, no question about it. But that talent is useless if you don't know how to put that talent in the right position. If you don't know how to really cultivate a culture and an identity with that team where they can go out there and maximize that potential. So that said, without a doubt, what Coach Saban, all of his staffs were able to do with that was second to none. In terms of kind of what we're looking at now, I mean, I think it's fair to have a little bit of reserve, I would say, maybe when it comes to just kind of that same type of mindset that you see at least on display, and that's not to sound disrespectful, but it's just I think fans kind of have that sense when they watch kind of how we look against the Indiana or the Georgia SEC championship game. I think that's very fair. I'll say this though. I mean, when I've been at practice or any of these scrimmage, I mean, these guys, they get after it. They're practicing hard. It's physical. They play with a lot of energy. I think the biggest thing is how can they find a way to do this on a consistent basis, week in and week out. And I'm not saying we always were perfect either, because I mean, we had a couple showings. First one that comes to mind is, first half against Ole Miss in 2016. I don't know if you guys remember this game, but we go on the road to Oxford. First half, I think we were down like 21-0. It felt like everything was going wrong. I think Jalen got, blindsided by, matter of fact, my future teammate, Marquise Haynes, strip sack, fumble, all that. Everything felt like it was going downhill. And then we had that come to Jesus moment in the locker room, and we showed up second half, and we ended up putting it on them, winning the game, all that good stuff. But so what I'm getting at is we had moments where we showed up and we looked a little uncharacteristic. So I'm not saying it never happened, but I can understand where it's coming from. Again, even from my perspective, I mean, I think that's one thing that has kind of concerned me just in some of those performances that I just feel like it's a consistent, the lack of consistency there. Because there's been other moments where we've seen this team show up and look physical and get after it. And while I will say, I don't know if in Gray Robertson, my partner on the Crimside Sports Network, he's kind of mentioned this and alluded to that. He doesn't feel like we've had our whole, one game where it felt like we just from start to finish really put our foot on another team's throat, which I guess if you look at it from one perspective, maybe that's a good thing because it feels like if you can find a way to get that out of this group, or whatever group that you're working with. I mean, this team could be a very serious contender, but it's just how do you get to that point and how do you do it consistently? So, in terms of the mentality part of it, man, I mean, it starts with the guys you're bringing in, and then you have to find a way to cultivate that that mindset with your team, and it has to be like starting now. Like right now, they're in winter workouts. You have to be working towards it. I talk about it all the time. It's not like, okay, you get to fall camp and magically the team just finds their niche and they're building that identity. It starts now with the way you attack these workouts, the leadership that you have, the way that because I'm sure they can probably meet some, probably not with their coaches. I don't know what the rules allow or what they don't allow, but um, that that has to be worked at consistently, and it starts now and it goes all the way up to the season before that first game. In terms of the top end talent, I think it's fair to say that there's more parity than ever. So which makes the mindset piece even more important because we were able to have a better roster than other teams given the way we recruited so well, and you didn't see. Matter of fact, I just saw a stat recently that said this is the first time like the top 10 recruits, I believe, are dispersed within like teams that you never like Vanderbilt and another school, like all these schools you never would have thought would land top talent. They're now doing that. So in terms of us not having that same top end talent, I think we still have a lot of talent. But I think when you look at other schools, there's a lot more parity without a doubt, which makes it that much more important to establish that culture, that mentality, that toughness, all those things. It becomes even more important because, like Brandon mentioned, you look at Indiana. Yes, they had older, more experienced guys, but I would argue, I mean, all the guys that we have, and stats will show this, were recruited uh, at a much higher rate. I would argue that they even just from a talent perspective are probably better. They're players with better ceilings, more potential probably will go on and play longer in the NFL. But the fact is, Indiana's their system and their culture, that identity, that mentality, and that physicality has separated them on top of the experience piece. So, no, I think you're right, Adam, with where you're going with it. I just think you just have to take what you got and you got to work with it. And Coach DeBoer taught about it. It was interesting though because it was like somebody sent him something that taught about the experience and like the age in college football and how that translates. Then he mentioned them having such a young team, but then he kind of tried to spin it back to, well, that's why we got to use it to our advantage. And um, just kind of interesting because the reality is when you do look at where like the teams that are playing late in the season, they typically are more experienced or older football teams. We're going to be young again. So that might be another uphill climb, but we'll have to see. But I do think the mentality piece is probably one of the most important things that outside of the running game, I think getting that mentality back will go a long way for this football team. And maybe that's what they're going to be working on. Maybe that's why they took the approach. To me, looking at the portal and how we're building this roster, it feels very much relying on development, which sometimes that's what coaches hope for. We'll get young guys in here that can buy into what we want to do, our process, and do it our way. It'll breed a lot of competition, and hopefully it translates and turns into a football team that ends up, having a lot of chemistry, a lot of young, fresh bodies that are eager, that are hungry to work and to fight for those opportunities. So hopefully that's how it plays out because that seems like that's kind of the hope. There's no guarantee, but it's definitely one way to go about it. But really good question. I'm curious what y'all's thoughts is on that as well in terms of Adam's question on where we're at now in terms of our talent level and then the mindset, the mentality of this football team. So big shout out to Adam again for any representation, any type of legal advice or test prep, career planning, you name it, any guidance. They will take care of you. They got you covered. Lamparello-law.com. Again, our guy Adam Shout out to him. All right, we got to hit a timeout and stay on schedule. When we come back, we're going to revisit the interview with Coach DeBoer because we got to go back and respond to everything. There's a couple things I want to touch on. I want to get y'all's thoughts on. We'll do just that. Then we'll keep on rolling from there right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Tuscaloosa.
He looks like he's looking at me in disappointment, like, come on, man. Talking about me again, man. Please stop talking about me. Can't do anything right. No, I'm just playing. No, if anything, I feel like we're very fair and respectful, man. Shout out to our guy Adam, man. Let's see. Look, Adam's showing love clearly financially. Let's see if you guys are showing love with those likes. All right, we got 76, so we passed our 50 mark. Let's see if we can bump it up. Let's see if we can get that 100 mark while we're live. I think we'll hit it when we go off air, but I want to try to get to it live. If you guys have it, man, just hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds, I promise. It just helps us out in terms of getting more people on board, seeing the channel, all that good stuff. I promise it won't hurt you. It doesn't zap you. It doesn't charge you anything. You just hit like and it gives a thumbs up. And the more people that like the video, the more people, I guess, see it because it pushes on the algorithm, all that good stuff. You guys know how it works. I'll let Adam respond, patriotic, but I will say he's up north in the New Jersey area. But I mean, nowadays, man, you can work from wherever. So they can help you out all over, man. And when he talks about, being genuine and having your back, listen, man, I chopped it up with Adam, and man, great dude, man. Y'all will get to hear from him again when we start getting him on here on Thursdays too. But really, really solid dude. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, it is kind of crazy, man. I feel like these coaches, man, they do age kind of quick when I don't know. I don't know if there's like a certain thing, but I feel like coaches, like they I don't know, I feel like 1 year they look one way. I feel like I saw it with Coach Saban, man. I feel like just one day I was like, damn. I feel like all this is starting to get to him, man. But I mean, the grind is real. The grind is real. I mean, these coaches are working left and right. I mean, it does not stop. When will Pops be back on? I don't know. You want me to text him real quick? Let's see. I know he had a funeral Tuesday. His oldest brother, who had been sick for a while, and they had his service on Tuesday. So I know he was out with that, and then I want to say I saw him back on Facebook preaching a little bit in his truck. But let me see. All right, I just texted him real quick. I don't think we need to rewind it. I think we'll just play it from where we're at. I remember what I wanted to hit on. I wanted to. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll tell him when he or let you know. I'll tell him when I talk to him or if he comes on here that you guys offer condolences. But I do want to hit on the part about Cap where he answered that, and then what was the other thing that we already heard that I wanted to hit on? I don't know. We'll listen to the rest of it. And if there's something that comes up, we'll definitely go back. But yeah, comparison doesn't stop. But I mean, like he knew what he was signing up for. I mean, there's no way you take this job and you just expect like, oh man, they're not going to compare me to Coach Saban. They'll do it for a couple months and stop. No, I mean he knew it was. He knew what he was getting into. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's dive back into this press conference, somewhat of a press conference, little I guess brick wall action down at the Senior Bowl, just kind of impromptu type deal. They actually sent out an email and said that he was going to be there and scheduled a time. So let's finish this interview up real quick. I think we just got a few minutes left, about 4.5 or so minutes left. We'll listen to this and we'll respond to it, get y'all's thoughts on it. But we're going back to head coach Kalen DeBoer, who spoke to the media down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl.
Culture in the offensive line room when you have the older leaders are leaving, new position coach, a lot of new people coming in from the portal. How do you handle that from this point forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every day matters. Every day matters, from learning the play calls to the line calls to right now a lot of it's just about the work, and then feeling what our culture is about in the weight room, and that's where Dave Ballou and his strength staff and having that continuity there just is really so important. And so they're getting a heavy dose of what Alabama football is from a work standpoint. But in the meantime, we're also, going to be diving into football and them understanding what our schemes are, and, what the footwork is. And I think when you got a lot of guys coming in like this, they're all hungry. They're all hungry and looking for their opportunity. And so there's an excitement that can happen too. And so a couple of the guys like a Michael Carroll, really is the main guy who took a lot of snaps for us there at the end of the season. For him, just keep doing what he's doing because he's going to lead by example. And other guys are going to come along, Will Sanders, and I'm expecting things from Jackson Lloyd and guys like that too. So looking forward to these guys stepping up. That's what they came here for. We knew we were going to have some graduation. So these guys that are now going to be in their second year were brought here to be ready to take over when this time came.
Your defensive line and to an extent the bandit spot, linebacker, a lot of different guys. How would you assess defensive line and to an extent your edge rushers right now?
I'm fired up about that group. Fired up about what those guys bring, both the returners and then also the newcomers that come in. I think we got longer. We got bigger. I think we got more athletic. I think we got some guys that both in the program and guys that have come into it that are that really care, not just about what they can do personally and for themselves, but also care about being a great teammate. And so again, captain type caliber people that are coming in the program. So I think we really have hopefully upgraded. That's my hope. Can't say we've done it because I haven't seen him on the football field as a whole, but I really like the direction that's going. And with the whole secondary that returns, really every starter there. I know Damani started a lot, so count him in there too. But I'm really looking forward to what the defense brings. So obviously, probably the biggest loss is the three linebackers there, and bringing in Caleb, and then some of our young guys that were being groomed a year ago for this opportunity. I'm excited what they can do too.
Kalen, it seemed like a lot of the portal pieces y'all brought in, not only are they pieces for now, but they have years of eligibility after too. How important was that aspect of it, especially with the offensive and defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, a lot's been made about an older team, and I didn't do the study. The study was sent to me, but it showed how young we were as a football team. Probably led to some of the inconsistencies we had at times, especially at the end of the year when you're facing the most mature teams and the best teams in the country. But it is what it is. You always would love to get some upperclassmen whenever that shows up. But some position groups work in that way. Some don't, depending on what you already have in your program. And so we just want to take the best players, the ones that fit, the ones that were hungry, the ones that really wanted to be here and be a part of it. And I think we did that. So again, probably younger again, but that's something we got to use as an edge and try to make kind of our thing. Let's continue to grow up faster. Let's have the Latsier Brookses and the Dijon Lees and the Michael Carrolls and London Simmons and the guys that were true freshmen last year. Take that next step along with a lot of our guys who are upperclassmen in our program.
Do you have an
All right. So that was head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and a lot of stuff to talk about and to discuss. Let's see where we're at. We got time to do it. Got a few minutes before we hit this next timeout. So let's circle back to the let's start where he just left off, actually, since it was fresh. So he talked a little bit about linebacker group, and we talked with Brandon about that. Definitely going to be probably relying on some of those younger guys that have been in the program, which it sounds like they're confident with those players. Which, again, definitely a wait and see type deal. I know QB Reese is a player that, in my opinion, has he's shown some promise. My only thing with him is he's undersized. He's a little bit on the smaller side, but I think he can play some good ball for you. So I expect him to probably definitely get some looks. But in terms of that Mike, we'll have to see. You got guys like Luke Metz. You got Caden. Is it Jones? I'm forgetting his last name, but there's a number of guys that they're excited about. I know even the veterans were asked about some of the young guys, and they mentioned that they've been looking really good, and their development had been solid. So we'll have to see how that whole thing plays out. But he mentioned the D-line. They asked him about the D-line specifically, and it seemed like he got really excited when they asked him about that. He said, "Listen, I think we've upgraded. I think we've gotten longer. We've gotten bigger up front, and he's excited to see what those guys can do." And I know somebody was asking earlier, was like, "Were you surprised that he said that?" Just give him my take on just saying, I can't say, just like Brandon said the same thing. It's hard for me to say that we upgraded. To be fair, I wouldn't expect him to say anything different. Again, though, I mean, he's the head coach. Those are the guys he just brought in. I would have been shocked if he said, we lost some really good players and brought some guys that we're hoping can replace. He would never say anything like that. But to be fair, I mean, they've also done their research on these guys, I'd imagine, and maybe they're a fit for what they want to start doing moving forward. I'm just going off of, listen, when I turn on the tape, I'm just trying to grade the guy off of him as a football player. It's not so much of, all right, this is exactly what we want to do with them with this scheme and how we could change this. Because ultimately that's on the coordinator and those coaches to figure that out. I just go off of, I had this pulled back up. And again, the theme of today was kind of, the word upgrade. And the reason I use that is because that's what he had used. And in terms of at least some areas, I don't think he meant necessarily everything, but he used the word upgrade, and he felt pretty strongly about everybody. And just pulling this back up, that list of who we lost and who we gained. Again, just for me, just my perspective, just because people ask my opinion, I don't know if I would label it as an upgrade only off of where it looks or what it looks like right now. That's not to say these guys that we did bring in can't be better. They are longer. I mean, look at Terrence Green, going to be playing that nose spot, replacing a guy like Tim Keenan, who I think measured in at like 6'1" and some change, like 330, right? You bring in Terrence Green, who's a few inches taller, around the same weight. I mean, that is nice to have a big physical guy with some length. Like I said, I like that addition a lot. Just some of the other ones that we mentioned, losing Quay and James, like those are just really good players. I mean, people talk about high school ratings. We don't really mention that, but to be fair, those are 2 5-star players. If that does matter to you, that you lost, that in my opinion might not have had the production, but showed a lot of promise. And the guys that we're bringing in, like Zulu or the guy from Southern Cal, while they are longer, he's right. Again, bigger, longer players. Just from what I've seen on tape, I couldn't say their tape necessarily looked like an upgrade to what we lost. But not to say they can't be really good players. I do think they can come in here and probably play better than what they did at their previous stops, especially if you use them right. But just the way they play, I just think if you guys are wanting more of that kind of old school looking front with Alabama, the guys that we brought in aren't really that mold. They're a little cut from the cloth of more athletic, a little bit more finesse type deal. If you're trying to compare them to the big, heavy-handed physical guys, that's just kind of what I saw on tape. So maybe you can coach that a little bit different, but that's just kind of what it appeared to be. So there's that. That said, let's do this. Let's hit this timeout and stay on schedule. We got more to discuss what he said in this interview, but we also got the Pastor Payne on here. You guys asked, you shall receive. So he's jumping on the stream. We'll talk with him and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Do you have a Yo.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I got an idea. Hold on.
Hey, come in here for a second because now you're having me second guess which one it
All right,
was.
can you hear me?
Let me reset.
Wait, I just reset.
Mhm.
Still can't hear me? Oh man. He's big on character too, so the upgrade could be overall. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's I didn't really
locally.
hold on, let me wait. Okay, he's back. Now can you hear me?
Yeah. There's something about between the radio and
Under the
whatever.
biggest cactus in town.
Yeah, I don't
When you
know.
click off of it, the radio, it puts me on mute and you can't get it back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you hear me all right? Do I need to go get my headset?
Yeah, no. It sounds perfect.
So I'm at
But no,
cigar
but
shop.
no, that's perfect. No, Mario, that's a great point though. I mean, he definitely probably
Personalized treatment plan.
because he did mention, captain quality players. I'm wondering who he's referring to though when he said that. Because when I went back and looked, I'm like, a lot of the guys were more like younger players. So I mean, maybe
Yeah, let's find out because now she's second guessing.
if I had to guess, maybe the Delgado guy. He maybe was that captain candidate, maybe.
Who's the head coach at Stanford where Jamie went?
They hired hey, what's it called? I think it's an NFL guy, but Andrew Luck is their GM.
Yeah, I know. Head coach Stanford football.
Any IT companies that want to sponsor show? You know what's
Well,
ironic?
was Frank Reich, but they got.
No. It's just pull up it's on their website.
I got it.
I can't remember his name, but I know they have some NFL guys that they brought on board. I think it's gonna be great. We do
football
have
coach Stanford Cardinal.
no. So ironically, we had a gentleman reach out who does actually have an IT company that was interested in partnering, but I hadn't. I need to follow up with them and kind of see where things are at. But it's funny you say that because he definitely has an IT company. It was actually cool. I was really like when he mentioned that, I thought it would be great since we obviously need some damn support with the tech. So I figured that would be ideal. Yeah, Pritchard. Yeah, Tavita Pritchard. That's right. That's exactly right. Tavita Pritchard. Wait, Woodson. Oh, Caleb. Okay, yeah, I was about to say maybe somebody like him, another older guy. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Ask and you shall receive. Had some folks wondering where the Pastor Payne was at, and here he is. He's jumping on the stream, hanging out with us. He's got his praise hands going. What do you call that? What's that called?
They're lifting up the hands of praise.
Yeah, I didn't know it was praise hands or close enough.
Just praising.
He's just praising. There you go. So, in terms of kind of what we've been talking about, just to kind of fill you in, Coach DeBoer was speaking down in Mobile, had a little bit of a press conference. First time we've heard from him I don't know, probably at least a month or so. I feel like it's been some time. They've been busy with portal and whatnot, so it's kind of the first time we're hearing from it. And it comes at a time where, matter of fact, we haven't talked with you since it's happened. They let go of Coach Cap. They made the change. They went ahead and replaced him already. Come on, man. Come on.
No, that's the right thing to do. That was the right thing. We've been talking about that. I mean, production is production. So when you go by production, the last couple of years, it was an F. It's a fail. So you got to, if you want to upgrade, you got to go in a new direction. Nothing personal, just that was the right decision. So I applaud. I don't applaud that he's fired, but I applaud the movement there. I think it's the right deal. That's all.
No, I'm with you, and we can agree, right? We can agree that it was time to make a change. But here's my thing. Only thing that and I'm just being completely transparent here. They did ask him like when he made that decision. Now, he said, because I was curious how he would answer this question, because I think a lot of people are kind of wondering this, because remember it didn't come after the season. So to me, like the writing's kind of on the wall. If it was truly only just based off, just that production thing or whatever, they would have made the move right after the season concluded. The timing of it being right after the portal closed, it's kind of evident that unfortunately they continued his services. Now he was being paid, but they waited until he finished recruiting. That's the only thing that I'm kind of like, I feel that does make me kind of feel for Coach Cap, because you got to remember there's a lot of movement that has been happening. So he might have potentially had another opportunity, but he might have been a little bit misled. Because listen, he clearly thought, at least for the time being, that he was still part of the staff. I mean, there's a reason this dude brought in like think about all the guys they just brought in on the offensive line. You're telling me.
So you think they used them to get said recruits in and then said, okay, you up out of there? That's kind of, it seems like to me that's what you're insinuating, but
come on,
I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
I didn't say that, but
I feel like you're saying that's what the people thought. But listen, this happens all the time. Don't do this, Alabama fans. Don't do that.
No. It's not Alabama fans. No. That was me just saying, like,
okay, because the thing is,
my perspective. That's not Alabama fans. That was me.
The timing may not work for everybody, right? But a coach could be like, you know what? Everybody is getting evaluated, and they knew that the offensive line play was subpar at best, and they needed to probably make a change there. Now, maybe somebody that they potentially wanted to hire wasn't there, or they were wanting him to solidify these recruits, which definitely that's part of it. I mean, that happens all the time. Whatever it is,
I just felt bad.
I mean, yeah, but if he had a contract, it's guaranteed. He's going to get his money, and if he can coach, if he coach Alabama, Michigan State, and other places, I'm sure that he's going to, get another job. I mean, listen, and he'll be just fine. I mean, he's not going to be in the cheese line like I used to have to growing up, the government cheese, getting that block cheese. Y'all know what I'm talking about on chat. You know what I'm talking about? Block cheese that won't melt. I don't care if you turn the microwave on 8 minutes, it'll still be a block.
Well, brother, because it's a block, you got to break it down, right?
Yeah, no. You cut it. You cut that cheese and then put on a piece of bologna. You get the bologna. You don't know about this. The bologna, then you cut the edges on the end of it, and it curls up, and then it's government cheese is bad. But my point is, he's not going to be in the government cheese line. So, Coach, appreciate your time in Tuscaloosa, but it's always time to move on. That's all. We're not going to have conspiracy theories and be like,
no.
When'd you make this decision?
First of all, no. Listen, why are you always reading way too? It's not that. Like I said, I had just was wondering that when it first happened, right? Because in my head, I knew that more than likely they were probably going to go a different direction. But as time was going on and they were letting them go out and recruit and whatnot, I just was kind of like, man, if they are doing in fact what it feels like, I'm like, it's kind of like, Only because I'm like, listen, there's other jobs that might have been available. If you would have just cut ties earlier, maybe he could have. There might not be jobs like that there, but whatever. You're right. This is college football. It happens. I'm not trying to sound like I'm being soft. It is what it is.
But it shows your humanity, unlike a lot of people in this country that don't have humanity no more. But you showing that you care about other people and even though
if you knew what you're going to do, if you knew what you're going to do, I mean, it's kind of like, man.
I agree, but I agree, but yet I understand the temperature when it comes to hiring and firing and timetables and recruiting and so you have to make some tough calls and maybe that. But I'm sure. I mean, this is DeBoer's guy. He has a relationship with these guys.
No. Cap was similar to the guy they let go of last year at the safety spot, Hitchler. He was one of those additions that there might have been.
Coleman Hitchler was for South Carolina linebacker coach.
Who?
And Coleman Hitchler. I think
No, no, no,
Hitchler.
no, 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 no. This was the other guy. This was the guy that came from, I think, where Sauce Gardner played at, wherever they brought him in, and it just didn't work out well. But he wasn't like really tied in.
Okay.
They kind of hired him from somewhere. And you remember, Cap was one of those deals. Scott Huff went on to the NFL. They needed to fill that void, and it felt kind of like they just found somebody that they thought could work, and it didn't work. And like you said, I agree. I even thought yes, it was time to go in a different direction. However, let me ask you this though, because we talked with Brandon Clear. He played at Clemson. He knows ball. I've been saying this even before the whole news of Coach Cap. I personally, from what I know about the game of football and just from observing this football team, I can't pin all their issues just on Coach Cap. I can tell you by watching tape, yes, I was frustrated with some of the execution from those guys. I felt like they weren't getting the most out of the guys up front and that the development wasn't exactly where it needed to be. Like, we can agree on that. I'm not dumb.
No, I agree with that.
I'm well aware. However, I can't help but just think in my head that there is more to it that also needs to be addressed. And if it's not addressed, I don't see it just changing directly, right? Like, the things that I'm referencing are maybe the system, the lack of commitment. Like, think about it. Like, any offensive line coach is not going to look great if you're only running the ball 13 to 15 times a game. You're not allowing your offense to get any type of rhythm. Like, you see what I'm saying? An offensive line, they work like that. They depend on continuity. You're rotating 8 to 9 guys throughout the whole season. Like, all I'm saying is, like, again, and it sounds like I'm being a Coach Cap apologist. I'm not. I'm just calling a spade and saying there's more to the equation. To me, if you only come up with, oh, well, it's production based, we're going to axe him, but we're not going to, and maybe they are, and they're just not mentioning it. That's why I wish somebody would have asked the question. How much do you feel I guess the lack of production comes from elsewhere, not just the offensive line coach?
Gotcha.
You
Let
know
me
what I'm
say
saying?
this. Listen, there's blame for both here. I mean, it's definitely not all Coach Cap. Okay, when you look at effort, when you look at the physicality of this offensive line, just in totality, how they can play, they didn't play according to what their rankings were, right? They didn't play at this solidified 5-star and dominant offensive line play. They protected well. No, they weren't that good. That's why I think they made a mistake in recruiting with a lot of their interior line, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. So, no, it's not just his fault. But at the same time, we understand, the leader of whatever head coach of the team or the leader of the offense or defense or the leader of a position group, that if that particular group does not show progression, and that's the thing I'm looking at, not just this year, last year. So you would think, okay, you just got in here, give him time, bring some guys that he knows, get his stamp on things. Did the offensive line get better? Do you see noticeable improvement? That's what a coach is going to ask himself. Okay, is this guy making my offense better? Is my running game better? The clear, unequivocally answer is no. They weren't better. I think we all can say they were worse, especially if we look at the run game. So you got to make changes. And when you're at Alabama, when you're like understand the expectations and all the noise that's going to be continuous and consistently coming in, you have to always, as a head coach, self-examine your program and your roster, making sure that, hey, man, I'm giving my guys, whomever they are, the best opportunity, the best chance to win and to succeed. And so I think this year it's also going to be like, okay, Ryan Grubb, what's his name, Grubb? Ryan Grubb, you're going to, what this offense looking like? We can't be averaging. So everybody's going to be under the microscope. So he knows that the hourglass, bro. It's like, okay, tag, you're it. Turn over that hourglass. Okay, we're gonna give you some time, but if we don't see noticeable progression, if we're not losing these games in ugly manners, if we keep losing these games in ugly fashion, getting dominated, embarrassing their team. Alabama is one of the most viewed programs in the country. Everybody watches the A. When Alabama is on, eyelids are on. The set is on, right? The last 2 national television performances, or 2 out of the 3, I think you go, Well, that is horrible. Georgia physically dominated them. Came back first half, physically got dominated. They bounced back, credit there. And then Indiana was abysmal, a curb stomping. So when you look at that and when you talk about where that happened, it was in the trenches. It was in the box. And you got to get better. And if he can't coach X and O's, if he can't catch this, motivate his guys to play at a level of competitiveness, I can get that word out. If he can't get them there, then you make a change. Yeah. Make sure you keep them guys, and we know this. You get connected to a guy that recruits you, you like him. Well, I'm gonna go here because I like Coach X. But if Coach X leaves, and then opens the door to say, "Well, I'm out." Well, I don't blame them. Let's keep them around till this period is over. They solidify. But still, don't you think if a coach, even position coach, I don't know all the rules verbatim, but if a coach leaves like that, and if you can say as a recruit, well, I came here a large reason because of Coach whomever, right? Then I want out of my letter of intent. I don't know if that's possible, but can't that happen?
What do you mean? Sorry,
Meaning
I was reading.
if they kept them here long enough to get players signed, and then he gets fired.
Oh, you're saying does that give them the ability to leave?
Do that because the head
No.
coach leaves, they can get out of it, but they can't do that with position coaches.
No, they can't do that with a position coach.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, then
that,
throw that away. What I
that's
said.
No, you're good. No, I get what you're going with, but yeah, no, only works with head coaches. And again, look, it's like you said, dog eat dog world. I mean, we know how this business works, so it's not necessarily a surprise.
Listen, bro. You get paid $500,000, and your contract is guaranteed, unlike athletes.
Yeah, no. I mean that.
I ain't gonna.
That's fair.
I'm not crying you a river.
More,
I'm like Justin Bieber, cry me a river.
Well, actually, that's Justin Timberlake, but
same thing.
Nah, they're a little bit different.
I mean, they're both white and they both sing the same thing.
Okay, all right. All right, this dude, you started turning to
Praise
Coach
God,
JB.
everybody in the building. Praise God.
You turned it into like the preach version of Coach JB, which you definitely aren't there. No, his impression of Diego Pavia, which I could never play on this radio show. It's y'all's generation, y'all's sense of humor, man. It is kind of refreshing. Nowadays, you can't really say a lot. Anyway, that said, let's do this. Let's hit a timeout because we're due for one, and that was a perfect time to hit it. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. A lot of good stuff we're talking about. We got Pastor Payne on here, so you never know what you're going to get, literally.
The truth,
keep on.
And the truth will make you free. Amen, somebody.
There you go. Amen. All right. Quick timeout. We keep it going. We come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Get your life back.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be clear. I'm not making it. I'm probably making it seem like that. It's not like it's the biggest thing in the world. I just was genuinely curious because of the timing of it, which they would never say that, but the writing is kind of on the wall if you just kind of hear the answers regarding the whole thing. Me personally, and again, people are gonna get mad. I'm comparing this to Coach Saban, but Coach Saban, like, he never like fired people. He always would have like something lined up. It was very much. So I don't know. I guess maybe just me being used to that and then kind of seeing that, I'm like, damn, bro, that's tough. But to be fair, we said we wanted him to be more assertive, and I guess this is probably kind of part of it.
There you go. I mean, if he didn't fire him and then go out there in the offensive line sucks, and you're gonna talk about
No. I agree that they needed to part ways. My thing is, I'm saying I don't like when people are kind of like a little kind of just be straight up. Like if you knew you're gonna get rid of him, man, like let that man go. But I'm just kind of like having him recruit, and then you ask him as soon as it closes after y'all got that. I just is kind of like That's just me though. That's just like you said. I'm one of those people. I'm a little empathetic, so I'm just kind of like, damn, man, it's messed up. But it's part of it. Anyway,
$5,750,000 3-year deal. Listen, go ahead and fire me.
Because that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not saying yes, he was getting paid. Like that's why he was going and doing his job. I'm also going off of what I know about Coach Cap, right? Like you got to remember, like He's a great dude, man. A really good dude. And I'm saying, like, the work on the field wasn't what it needed to be, but that dude recruit like. There's some people in that building, just calling a spade, that don't really go recruiting doors. That dude was busting his tail doing all that. So I'm just saying, I'm like, I wish it could have. And again, there's other things that I can't share publicly.
But isn't that his
So
job?
to recruit?
I mean, in his job description, wouldn't that say you got to recruit, bring in, first class athletes or whatever? That's his
It
job.
is.
He's just doing his job.
It's
He ain't
also the
doing anything
job.
different than anybody
It's
else. He
also
might get better players, but he's doing his job.
I'm just I mean.
Man,
I'm just saying it's also the job of other folks that don't recruit. And it's also the job of other folks, and they don't put the effort in like he does. That's all I'm saying. You got a dude that's, I mean, he's doing everything he can,
so they got to get an O-line coach and a tight end coach, right?
They got a new O-line coach.
Are they hiring one
Clem.
replacement?
They replaced.
I've been out of loop because I've been pretty busy, but
we'll talk about it when we come back. I'll pull them up. Maybe you're familiar with them.
Probably not.
Adrian
like
Clem.
Tavita Manita.
Okay, all right, Coach JB. No, he
How the man named Tavita get a job? That's a friend of Andrew Luck's.
Bro, how are you going to discriminate off names, bro? Come on now. Now let's go. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that's a problem with the African American community, right? People being discriminated against with their names. Don't pull a double standard now. Don't be
Is he black,
hypocritical.
dude?
I don't know what he looks like. Why does it matter? I don't know his
You
name.
talking about the black dude? I'm just trying to.
Bro,
Why you say that?
Come on, man. Because you said, how did somebody with the name Tavita get it? That would be like somebody saying, how did somebody with the name Shaniqua get a job? Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, man. He's probably Samoan. Tavita, come on, that's Samoan. That's Polynesian. If I had to guess, watch.
What they call that's what they call the head coach, not director of football.
Brother, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's
that's what they call him. Director.
Hold on, we're coming back. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC. All right, we're catching up with the pastor of Payne. He's been a little bit out of the loop. He had a service. It was late older brother, Toby, Tuesday. And by the way, the chat said they were offering their condolences, by the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So we're trying to fill him back in on everything. So we taught a little bit. So parted ways with Coach Cap. They already hired. I don't know if it's official just yet, but it's going to happen. Adrian Clem. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but a little background, just maybe it'll ring a bell. But he played 7 years in the NFL. Now I think he got drafted. Was it 2000? Maybe like right after you retired. But he played with the Patriots. He won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots before entering the coaching realm. He started off at SMU as a graduate assistant, but his most notable work, he was the offensive line coach and run game coordinator for UCLA between around 2012 to 2016. I think had some recruiting violations, had a little bit of a show cause. Went on to coach in the NFL. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he coached one of my former teammates, J.C. Hassenhauer, who had nothing but positive things to say about him. Spoke very highly of him. Then he went on to Oregon in 22, where they ended up having a top 5 unit, only gave up like 5 sacks. And I think they they averaged over 200, like around 218 yards per game, which is really great. That was probably his best season. Then he left, coached the Patriots in 2023 before taking a leave of absence kind of deal, kind of walked away, and for a year, I think had some health issues, where he joined USC, Southern Cal, not your USC, as an analyst.
USC.
This past season before being hired. So that's where we're at now.
Okay, that's a different guy. So that's a different guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I can pull up a picture of. Maybe you've seen. I don't know, but he.
I don't know. Never heard of him. But I mean, I'm glad that he has NFL ties. He has won Super Bowls. He's coached at the highest level. Some very talented linemen. Then he went out to Oregon, and we know that offense spread you out type of deal. So you're talking about
really well. I mean,
right? You're talking about different
top 5
blocking techniques and things that he's going to be able to teach And so, no, I like it. I mean, based on the resume, what's on paper, I like it. I don't know him. I don't know his character. I'll look up a little bit more, check into my NFL connects. But listen, I'm pretty sure just on resume alone is a worthy hire, right? And you talk about with recruiting, he's going to be able to go into the households and talk to the young people and say, hey, man, I was at the highest level, not just there, but I won 3 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. I was a part of that program, and that's going to garner much respect, even though they don't get respect because Bill Belichick. That's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah, that was
my
dirty,
thing
Dale.
is, yeah. So my thing is, I think kudos to Kalen DeBoer for bringing that type of person in, because I think you're talking about what they're missing perhaps in recruiting. They can replace that right there, because when you got an former NFL player, former NFL guy, been around the bling and the rings, and you're able to go name drop to young people, and you're going to be able to help develop, and because you know what it takes to get there, you know what it takes to be sustained there, you're going to be able to sell that, and that's a great recruiting tool. So I think at the end of the day, it's a pretty daggone good hire, even though I don't know much about him, but just what you just told me, I'm okay with that. I think that is a big time, that's an upgrade as far as replacement is concerned, period.
It's funny. Everything you said, you pretty much echoed what I said. So it's funny how that works. I basically said I'm not going to sit. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, it's going to be a home run hire." I said, "Look, I don't know him
I
personally."
ain't saying that, but
Yeah, that's what I said. I can't necessarily say that, but what I
don't
can say
aren't they
is
sick and tired of doggone talking about home run? Y'all done hit so many home run hires that they turn out to be foul balls.
But listen, but I said the same thing that you said, that in terms of just on paper, his experience as a player and as a coach, and this is what I was excited about. This is what J.C. Hassenauer, former Alabama offensive lineman who played for him in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, said.
Can you get him on?
Yeah, he was supposed to jump on, but he had an appointment for his son. But anyway, he said he played and coached at a high level. I learned a ton from him on technique, which is huge. We talk about execution and technique. He said, and he's probably the best at breaking down pass rushers. So that alone, I was huge. And then it got even better when he said, great developmental coach for younger guys. Right. So that's J.C. Hassenauer. So he said, really good recruiter, understands the game from a player and coach perspective. So I thought it was great. But we got to get out of here on the radio side of things. We're going to hang out on the stream for a couple minutes real quick.
Keep hope alive, everybody. Hey, Tide, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive, as the Pastor Payne says. Big shout out to everybody today. Producers, Reed, Chase behind the glass, all our listeners, Tide 100.9, YouTube, Facebook. We're not going anywhere on YouTube or Facebook. We'll stay streaming for a little bit. But in terms of radio, we'll be back here tomorrow, right on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Shalom, everybody. Shalom.
Appreciate you guys, Reed, Chase. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, they're going to ask you. So Latham. That's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Knowing that you've had a neck injury, I think yours is a slip disc. I think Latham's is a little bit different. But any thoughts? Any maybe advice in terms of a guy like Jamarian Latham? He's been approved for a 7th year, I believe, officially. If you guys tune in, you already know we've talked about this. The expectation was he was going to be back, but now they're announcing it officially, so we can talk about it a little bit more. But he was the one that broke his neck last season. It was out the whole year, but now he's returning. But any thoughts on a guy coming back from that? I mean, do you think it's possible to return and be 100% of the player you were prior? Now, again, I don't think yours wasn't a whole broken neck. I think his was different. But, I mean, how confident would you be in a guy like that to come back and to be at the level he was prior? And, again, this is not medical advice.
Well, let me just say this, man. When your neck, whether it's broken, whether it's, pinched nerve, disc, it's scary. And there's so many things that can go wrong based on cervical injury. So can you come back and play? Yeah. you can come back and play. But I don't know if they're having a fit in here because somebody just got a monkey riding around in the car. But
Wait, huh?
yeah, somebody's got a monkey in their car, so they're tripping out. Yeah, I said. Wait, I'm
Okay.
gonna see if I can show the chat. Go ahead. But I think that you can bounce back, but it's gonna be a hard thing. I
Wait,
don't know how to
just
flip
turn the face. Just turn it around. You saying there's
like this.
no, or just turn it to the window. He's gone.
He's gone. The monkey's gone. I don't know. Anyway, I ain't never seen nobody walk around with a monkey.
I have two friends that have monkeys. Actually, I have two. Believe it or not. So it's a thing. They wear diapers.
Let me see the picture. Come in, Miss Grace. I'm on a live video, but this is what the guy.
What in the hell?
He had him in the truck, right? Did he? I think one of the monkeys that got lost out of that truck. We had a truck turnover here, and the monkeys escaped. I think that's one of them.
I think you're thinking of here because we had an overturned truck full of experimental monkeys too.
Yeah, we had one probably about 5 weeks ago. Good to see you. 5 weeks ago, that truck turned over. The monkeys were on the loose, man. And a couple of them, I think they found out was dead, and then the other ones they got. But anyway,
Yeah.
that distracted me. But I think it's a scary. Let me just tell you about mine. I had a C6, C7, which is the upper part of your spinal cord, and for me, after playing all these years of football, when I left New York with that injury and I was signing with Minnesota, I knew that I wasn't the same person because you always have that thought in your mind every time you have contact, is my neck gonna break? Am I gonna get up? You know, because I know when I heard it, I lost all that in my arm, kind of worse than the stinger. Like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even move anything in my arm. And so I know that if you go out there and play with a neck injury, you're not going to play the same. You're not going to play with the same physicality. You're going to play guarded. You're not going to lead in. Like for me, I go to tackle head up, chest out, wrap up. You kind of start turning, try to shoulder everything. And that was me. That's why I retired early. I could have played 10, 11, 12, 13 years. But I knew because of the fear I had, the fear of being hurt, the fear of being injured, that I couldn't play the game as fearless as I used to play, and therefore I retired.
Mm. Well, that's some good insight. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really. I was thinking in my head. I don't know, and his might be different. Maybe, yeah, but that's a good point though.
And it depends on the degree of the injury. I mean, but like our friend Sterling, he had to have his fused. Now, when you talking about I didn't have to have surgery. I took a lot of prednisone that reduced the swelling, and it took 12 months to get right. Man, I couldn't even lift 5 pounds with my arm when I first started. So it took a long time, but I had second, third. I was in LA, New York. I went all these big time cervical doctors, and they guarantee like, man, am I going to be all right? I don't want to be handicapped or can't walk or, if that's the case, I'm done. And they assured me that the injury in itself wouldn't cause me to have further damage, if I broke my neck, it wouldn't be because of what I had. So it was a bulging C6, C7 that both the vertebrae was into my spinal cord. And I did that not even full contact. That was just a thud, boom, and I hurt my neck like that. So I don't know. I don't.
So you're saying maybe be a little
you're gonna have to
not
play
conservative,
cautious.
but maybe but I'm saying even like from a fan perspective, if you're kind of wondering what to expect out of him, you're saying maybe be a little patient in terms of
I
just
would
kind of
be
seeing.
patient. I mean, and if the doctors give him the clearance, and listen, this was 1998 so you talking about what 28 years ago, whatever it's been. So obviously, medicine and things are so much different now. So I'm
And
sure
shout
that
out
they
to
can.
Andrew Sports Medicine because they're the best in the business. One of our
Yeah, they
partners
can
here on the show.
diagnose and they're not going to put a kid out there if there's any risk of him, from that injury getting hurt. Now you can always break your neck. I mean, that's why the coach don't duck your head, don't you lead with the crown of your helmet. That's dangerous. And so if it's not anything from his prior injury, that they can say, well, if you get hit like this, I mean, you got more of a risk to, whatever. If they can clarify that and give him that confidence, then he can go play. But I know for me, just me personally, because I was such a physical player, and for me as a linebacker, here's the other difference. Christian is, I'm playing off the ball a lot. I'm running into smashing, hitting people. As a lineman, you got a shorter space, and you should be using most of your hands. And so I think from that standpoint, they don't have to worry so much about like I did, because you play a linebacker, man, you running and you try to knock people out, and you leading with the crown of that face mask. That's a little bit more different than playing offensive line, where I'm a guard and I'm playing over a 3 or 2, or blocking down on a 0. I'm not really smashing like that. So I think there's less opportunities for that person to have a recurring injury based on how they play.
No, that makes sense. No, I appreciate the insight. Great question, by the way. But I think Dwight asked that. I wish we were able to squeeze that in radio, but no big deal, because I'll just clip that and we just upload that separately, because that is some good insight. I ain't even really think about that. Something to consider. But I mean, we'll see more in the spring. I mean, I think somebody asked about like where he's at right now. I don't know exactly in terms of.
This is 7 years ago.
It's his 7th year, because I think he had a red shirt / COVID year, then this medical red shirt. Ends up making it a 7th year. But it's kind of in a new day and age. I mean, it is what it is. But he deserves it. I mean, he didn't get to play, but what, he played in Florida State. I think he about to play to maybe 2 games, maybe. But the fact that you got a guy that's experienced, even if you just having him in the locker room, in that linebacker room, or that bandit or wolf room, to me, I think that's definitely a big addition, and some big time news that finally has been publicized. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to hit before we get out of here. Is there any other questions you guys had that we didn't hit? Let me scroll back up. Let's see. We already touched on all the updates with the yeah, rugby's rough, man. You can definitely get injured a lot in rugby too, because you don't have the pads or the helmet or anything like that.
I mean, anything, man, don't take, but, one weird, when your body's contorted and you got all these big bodies moving so fast, I mean, it don't take much. I mean, so you just got to have the grace and the blessing of the Lord, man, to, just to cover you.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it really, anytime, whether you have a prior injury or not, it's one of the risks of playing this game. Oh, the other thing I was going to ask you about, and I know you hadn't seen these guys like I've seen them, so that's probably not a great question to ask you now. Anyways, I know what you're going to say, that it's too early to tell. But Coach DeBoer was speaking on the team and a couple positions that he felt that they upgraded at. That's kind of been the theme of today. Now, I don't know how much you know about the guys we brought in. I highly doubt unless you've been listening to me or watching some of the tape we put up on there. But I don't know. You have any thoughts on that at all? I mean, just by knowing some of the guys that they left and hearing about some of these guys bringing in, you think it's way too early for you to give?
Yeah, you know me, I kind of stay away from that, because I mean, you're talking about system and new locker room for new guys coming in and via the transfer portal versus recruiting. You just don't know. I think when we get into it in the spring, you're able to see certain guys. You just get a little bit more information. You just don't know. I mean, anytime a guy changes a team, even in the transfer portal, I always go back to what George Young, my old general manager for the Giants, said. Most of them don't work out, and he's right. Most of them not going to even get close to the same level that they were at. Now, some do, but I bet if you looked at a percentage of all these transfer portal guys, the majority don't get close to the numbers, get close to the production that they were in at said school. So, but I give them a chance. I mean, hopefully coaches know the right guys who fits their program from a character standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, and that they fit into what they're doing. And that's what you hope for. But I just know it's hard to figure that out sometimes. And, guys get money now, guys get comfortable, guys come in, they don't like as much as they thought, even though, the coach sold them this bag of goods, and then they get there and they go, oh, no. And so we'll see. I think they need running back. I think they definitely need rush ends, rush players, people that can get to the quarterback. They need receivers that can complement a Ryan Williams at 17. They need interior linemen. They need offensive linemen. I mean, they have a lot of holes that has to be filled very quickly. And for Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff, you hope that they hit it right. You just don't know.
No, I agree 100%. That's why I said it's definitely way too early, but he's the one that threw out the word upgrade. That's why I was going off of it. To me, even basing off of what I've seen on tape, I still think it's way too early. I'm just, it's
it's way too early to say we upgraded.
Yeah, and he ended up saying that too. He finished by saying, I mean, to be clear, he can't necessarily say, but he feels, and I think that's why somebody made a good point in the comment section. He probably also was including other things because he brought up some guys being whether former captains or captain candidates, stuff like that. So I think he also was going off of, getting some guys in here that were hungry to have an opportunity to play at Alabama. And that's why I think the more I kind of think on it, it sounds like they're taking the approach, getting their guys in here. When I mean their guys, I mean just literally guys that they recruited that they feel could be a good fit, that they can develop, and hopefully they can come make an impact. But like you said, you just got to wait and see. I pulled this up earlier, and I was curious your thoughts on this real quick. And this is our rushing totals from this past season. And you kind of see the games that we're playing from behind. It's going to make sense. You're not going to run a bunch, but 16 total carries still is kind of crazy. 17 against Indiana. Those are the two games we got pretty much blown out in. But what was interesting was, and I was trying to compare, it wasn't that much less than what we did the year prior with Milroe. Obviously, the production was much better, 2,200 yards on 488 attempts. But then you see 2023, before they got here, this was also with Jalen Milroe. This was when they went and lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl, 561 attempts on 20 for 2,400 yards. But what's interesting was you go to 2022, and this was with, who would this have been with? Bryce Young, right? So you got Bryce Young's final year, 457 attempts on the ground, but that was for 2,500 yards. So clearly, in the average of 5.57, there was much more production and success, even though that was a lower number of attempts than this past year, which is kind of crazy to think about. So damn near the same amount of attempts, more or less, but 1,000 less rushing yards, man. Kind of just crazy to see that number. I mean, we only rushed for 1,500 total yards. I don't know, man. Just kind of interesting. So I still think, I mean, he can't put it all. I think Mike Johnson explained it best. If you guys missed that, go watch the video we uploaded. I snipped it from the interview with the whole episode, but we asked Mike Johnson about it, and he gave a great explanation on a lot of the shortcomings. Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah. Matter of fact, it was 22 Jahmyr Gibbs last season. I don't know what he rushed for. But I just thought that was crazy. I'm like, man, we had 457 attempts, so 9 attempts less, but rushed for 2,500 yards in 2022 versus this past year with 466
So
attempts.
1,000 yards less rushing this past season?
So, well, no. So, all right, let me no. Sorry. I'm all over the place. So from this season compared to last season, their first year, it was a difference of about 700 rushing yards. But I thought the number of attempts would have been a lot different, but it really was only 22 carries differentiating the two. But the number that I was saying really stood out was back in 2022 with Bryce Young, his final year, we had 457 attempts total, which is 9 less than this past season, but we rushed for over 2,500 yards versus only 1,500 yards. So 1,000 more rushing yards on the ground in 2022, even though we had 9 less carries. So, and you see that the average is about 80% less as well. So clearly, I mean, there's an issue with
Why you got a new offensive
execution.
line coach?
Who was the O-line coach in 22? Is it Wolford? I think Wolford, right?
I think Eric Wolford.
I think Wolford was still there. I'm trying to think of who. Yeah, and yards per carry was also 5.572, which makes sense. I mean, if you got less carries and more yards, it's definitely going to be up there. Let me pull up the depth chart from that year. Let's see. In 2022, the depth chart was, who was the starting O-line that year? Let me make sure this is the right year. I want to say this is right, 2022, because that was Will Anderson's last year as well. Tyler Steen, Kendall Randolph, Darian Dalcourt. That was here. They really struggled at center, right? That's when they were rotating. I think Seth ended up beating them out. Emil Ekior, my bad, Emil. And then Latham at right tackle. So out of that group, you had a 3rd round left tackle, undrafted, and a 1st round right tackle.
Not too bad.
So, I mean, I would argue they had, I mean, if you look at this year, Caden Proctor's probably going to be a 1st round pick, maybe early 2nd. Brailsford will probably be a day 2 guy. Who else left? I'm trying to think. Michael Carroll's going to end up being a solid draft pick when he's older. I would argue, the talent was probably almost a little bit better on this past year. Wait, Doug Marone, was Marone 22, or I thought Wolford
Doug
was
Marone
here?
from Jacksonville, former head coach of the Jaguars.
Yeah, but I thought I think Wolford was here. Wolford was
No,
definitely here.
I think that was Marone.
But Wolford was here at least. Wait, no, because I was working those camps that year, and at least 23 was Wolford. How long was Wolford here though?
A couple of years. Hold on. What years did Doug Marone coach at Alabama? 21. He was offensive line coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, 2021.
Yeah, I was about to say it was Wolford. Marone was before that. Then it went to Wolford. So I think Wolford was 22 and 23 because I remember Wolford was up here because I used to be working the camps and always talking to him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just there's some interesting numbers there, but I mean the attempts were interesting to me because I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were going to be a lot less than the year prior when we had Milrow, but it really was only by 22. But how many games? I think the number of games was about the same too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. Oh, never mind. So we played 2 extra games this past season. So it was so when you scale it, it was much less, which makes sense. Played 2 less games. So if you average, let's say on average, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and tally this up, but just by looking at it, I would say on average, it was probably what, like 20, we'll just say 25 to 27. That's probably another, we'll say 50 to 60 attempts that you would have had the year prior with 2 less games. So that really, if you scale it, would be like 530 compared to 466.
I mean,
if you guys are keeping up with my math, I know it's kind of
their last 3 games rushing the ball. -3, 28, 23.
That's really all you really need to see.
Nothing else to look at. I mean, -3, 28, 23. So that is -3. That's 25 plus 23.
48.
That's 48 yards.
In 3 games.
Divided by 3 is what?
16.
They average 16 yards
The game through the
rushing
last 3 games.
per game the last 3 games. So when you look at it from that standpoint, that's it's. I mean, this is Alabama. 16 yards a game the last 3 games. I mean, unthinkable, unheard of. I mean, just absolutely no way you can talk about winning games that way.
I had 158 against Auburn. I got to go back and watch that game and see the flow of it. Jam had a good game that game before he got hurt.
Got 269 against Eastern Illinois, though.
I mean, I would hope
212
so.
against Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that
We
was a
had
credible
300
rushing game against
but
Auburn.
you go back to year before, right? Before again, I'm not trying to put everything on Grubb, and I know the personnel was different because you had Milrow, but you got to remember. I mean, to be fair, Coach Cap was the offensive line coach when we went for 334 against Western Kentucky, 199 against USF, 181 against Wisconsin, 173 against Georgia, 271 against Missouri, 311 against LSU, 189 Mercer, 201 against Auburn. Now, you know, the other difference was Jalen Milrow. I mean, I wish it said specifically how much of that was Milrow, which we all know. I mean, that's probably at
Right, but
least
what
50%
about
of the
this?
damn
I mean, what about this past season?
Yeah, past season, what I just had pulled up. I mean, the best game I would say was, I mean, you probably go Auburn, but I mean, to me, Auburn in that Vanderbilt game, Vanderbilt, even just watching the tape, our execution was very solid against Vanderbilt. Like, it was probably one of the best games I had watched for our offensive line. I know we gave up a couple sacks, but a lot of it really was Ty holding the ball. At least a couple of them were. But in terms of our execution in the run game, it was solid, man.
Yeah, but if anything, it just shows you the level of inconsistency.
Mm-hmm. And I think it also just goes to show you how much more impactful Jalen Milrow was than people fail to
Right.
realize.
Right.
Right? I mean, everybody complained about, you know, some of his shortcomings in the passing game, which again, everybody's going to have their deficiency. There's no player
Right.
that's perfect.
100%.
But what he made up for it was those numbers we just saw on the ground. Right? I mean, this wouldn't be possible without him. Right? So
We already knew that.
no, we've been saying that. Anybody listens to the show, I mean, I think they know. Christian, what do you think about Chad Savage or Zach Hansen as tight end coach from USC? Southern Cal USC? I mean, damn, we really just turned into a Pac-12 school. They have two and are both great recruiters. I'll be honest with you, Corey. I don't know much about those guys. I really don't know anything, if I'm being completely transparent. I'll look into them, but we've said on here before, man. I mean, to be fair, tight end, you know, you don't have to have. I mean, a lot of times tight end coaches are just guys that you're trying to get on. As a matter of fact, like Brian Ellis, when we hired Brian Ellis to coach our tight ends, I don't even know if he had ever coached tight ends before last year. Now I might be making that up, but I'm almost positive. Yeah, exactly. Last year was his first time coaching tight ends. Before that, he had coached running backs, receivers, quarterbacks. So what I'm getting at is tight end coach, you don't have to necessarily go get like a guy who's like, I mean, obviously you want a guy that can develop your tight ends and coach them up, but it's very common for coaching staffs to utilize that role for guys that are good recruiters, guys that just can help bring, you know, another offensive mind. Just like you saw Brian Ellis, he had a background with quarterbacks and receivers and even running backs. So they probably brought him on for a lot of those reasons, but figure, hey, you know, he knows enough about the offense or, you know, philosophies of offense. We can, you know, let him coach the tight ends and Look what he did. I mean, Cuevas had a great season. So I mean, I don't think it's limited to only guys that coach tight ends is what I'm getting at. But that's a really good question you're asking. I just personally don't know those guys, but I'll look into them. But I mean, for me, if you're talking about development, I definitely, and we got a number of young tight ends. I would definitely try to find somebody that you feel like could really develop those young players. But that's just not always the route that you see. In terms of 2026, if I don't know personally, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. But I do think if you bring in, you've now replaced the offensive line coach. So if you still see a lot of these inconsistencies and issues with the running game, I mean, I think you will see a lot more attention being turned to other people other than just the offensive line coach.
I can laugh.
But somebody, like I said, somebody, there's going to have to be some more answers because right now you can kind of say, we struggle running the football. Offensive line play wasn't what it needed to be, which is true. But I'm in agreement with Brandon that you still are going to have to. I think the best thing that they could do is you need to get rid of Grubb, but you need to allow guys like Clem and maybe even Coach Nix, who they hired as a receiver coach, but he has a background as a running backs coach, and I think he had some solid groups. Let me pull up his resume to look at all his stops and who he coached up. But I know he coached running backs for Southern Miss, and he coached the running backs for Ole Miss from 2008 to 2019 before being moved over to the wide receiver room. So this is this is just if I was Kalen DeBoer, if I put myself in his shoes, and again, he gets paid money to do this. I'm sure he's got it figured out way better than I do. This is just me just talking. What I would say is, because to my understanding, Grubb has kind of had like a lot of control over a number of things, which that's not uncommon. I mean, it's typically, I would say typically, but it just depends. Some coaches have that philosophy where they want to kind of have all the say. Others rely on and allow a lot more of input, maybe, I guess, so to speak. That's why there's run game coordinators. You get what I'm saying? But if I was Kalen DeBoer, what I would do is I would make sure that we're allowing guys like Clem and even a guy like Coach Nix, who has a decade plus of coaching running backs, to have a lot more of input in terms of the running game. Not saying that the other guys didn't necessarily have as much in the past, but I would just make sure moving forward, let's get other eyes and ears on this thing. Let's let everybody contribute. All hands on deck approach. I mean, don't you agree? I'm just saying. I mean, like, you got a guy that has experience as a run game coordinator in Clem, who also, coached the game on both levels. A receiver coach you just hired who has 10 plus years coaching running backs. I just feel like that'd be probably one of the best things that they could do.
You get paid $11 million a year, you better figure it out.
Yeah, that's fair. Wait, same results in 2026. Yeah, I mean, never know, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, I think that's about all I got for today. I ain't got nothing else right now, but we'll be back tomorrow, last day of the week. So make sure you guys are tuning in, same time, 11 to 1. I don't think we have any guests unless you want to jump back on tomorrow. I don't have anybody lined up.
I'm wide open. I'm off this weekend.
Yeah, jump on tomorrow because golly, man, I keep getting hit all these subscriptions. I gotta see what I'm all signed up for. Goodness gracious, man.
Don't they have a thing now that'll take it up?
Yeah, I think they do, but I just always forget. I just get the charges and I'm like, golly, man.
I have to go back to Panera Bread and order some chicken and rice mushroom soup.
Offside says they'll jump on the show.
Cool.
That's funny.
I
Yeah, y'all
think
are
we should
always
get.
welcome.
I
Call
think we
in.
should get the coach on the show and just ask him.
That's funny you say that, man. Listen, I'm trying to have patience, man. But like, I reached out this morning just kind of get a gauge on kind of like what the game plan is. Because remember when everybody first got here, I mean, it was like damn near open door policy where I mean they had every media platform and they were letting everybody go do stuff in the building. I mean, it was like never before seen. And uh Nicholas, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. Seriously, thank you guys so much. We've had a lot of, I think, newer listeners, and maybe not necessarily newer, but we've been having a lot more people engaged and stuff. And just want to tell you guys, thank you, man. It's been a lot of fun the last few weeks, and we've just continued. We're about to hit 4,000 subscribers on here, and that just goes up daily. So thank you guys so much. But yeah, long story short, I had reached out trying to kind of figure out like what the schedule is and what it's looking like, and he said, "Oh, probably not till another month or so."
All right, just tell Will just continue to crush him until you get
No,
on.
no.
I was
Well,
kidding.
no, I know, but all serious, man. Like it gets to a point where I'm like, man, like I feel like I've done everything the right way, been very respectful, and like
I think
anytime I
Mario
even have a,
Cristobal will tell Michael Irvin, we'll get back with you. Nah,
I'm like, I don't know. It just gets to a
I'm
point,
getting
man.
full now.
But no, it's funny you said that though, because I told him because I was asking him about like players because I'm like, when do you think players will be available? Because I mean, there's guys that literally like they want to get into media. That's their either major or that's what their interest is, like life after football. And I've had people mention that, like, hey, there might be some guys that want to maybe shadow or do that stuff. So I was kind of even thinking just from
Buckle
that
up.
perspective.
I guess the Floyd.
Huh? He's talking to somebody else.
This is Buckle. You said you wanted to be on my son's pod. Come over here so you can see.
I don't think it's them hiding
Oh, you
from
can
it now
talk to him.
because
It's how you said.
hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing. We're live, by the way, just so you know. I just want to make sure you're good with being on camera.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm a natural. Don't worry about it. No.
Oh, well,
Come here.
perfect. Glad to have you on here.
Now they watch you on the TV in here at the
Oh,
shop,
really?
even when I'm not here.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying like that. I just want to make sure she knew because I just didn't want her to be on camera and not know it. But
No, she knows. She's always said, I want to be on a co-host, she says.
okay, well, she can jump on whenever.
There you go. He said you can come on whenever. The fact that you know nothing about sports, but anyway.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. But wait, I was about to say it's got to
That's
be.
not true.
I was
That's not
about to say
true.
like
I know.
we're done with the radio portion, so it's cool now. But you got to
Yeah, we
bring
don't
some
know.
substance now.
This is all internet. Internet.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what the internet is. I know about sports. I was the baseball stat girl. Do you not remember that?
Oh,
Baseball
well, okay.
sticker.
We'll talk We'll talk baseball then. We'll bring her on and
See,
talk baseball.
see, I know about wrestling.
Oh, okay. All right. Now we're talking. Now I'm a big wrestling fan.
Oh,
Now we're
okay.
talking.
No, it ain't her
Wait,
dog
hold on,
wrestling.
hold on.
It ain't that fake wrestling you
Wait,
talking about.
wait. Are you talking about like
You asked the chat,
competitive
chat, you hear me, is
wait.
wrestling fake or not? NWA, whatever the
Yeah.
other WWAF,
WWE.
Okay, but my kid doesn't do that.
Wait, hold on. Is she talking about like competitive, like college
Nah,
wrestling?
she talking about like high
like
school
WWE?
wrestling.
No,
She don't watch WWE.
that's fake wrestling.
See? That's what I
Okay,
told you.
no, now we're not cool. Now I was talking about WWE.
Okay,
See?
but next time I have to put on my jacket so I don't look so bad. I have a better outfit.
It's definitely changed. It's not. Listen, it's predetermined. It's scripted.
What?
But everybody knows that. But you got to view it for what it is. It's about storytelling. It's about the art of it. Everybody knows it's not. You know what I mean? You can just tell by some of the content. Now, those guys still get injured at a very high rate. As a matter of fact, shout out to one of our partners here on the show, Andrew Sports Medicine. They officially do all the surgeries on those guys.
Yeah, because they just jumping off ropes and hitting themselves on the head with a chair, one of them old school church chairs. But Ric Flair's one of my good friends. You know that. I mean, they take the razor blade. That's why their hair look like they got 18 lines across the forehead because they take the razor so they can bleed. And then
Yeah, that is true.
my other good buddy name is I'm drawing a blank right now.
He's your good buddy, but you don't know his name.
Ric
Yeah.
Flair.
No, I just said Rick. No, it's Bacalao something.
Mark Henry.
No, you know, me and Mark Henry was in the dunk contest together with Foot Locker and Nike back in 1993.
That says a lot about the dunk contest because you and then a guy that weighs 330
Hold
pounds.
on,
I mean,
bro. Hold on.
Was it on a
Hold on
9-foot?
now.
Was it on a
Bro,
9-foot
I
rim?
could
Or?
fly. I'm talking about the R. Kelly. I believe I can fly. I mean, bro, I was doggone. I was repping.
Dang. Well,
I got to get out of here. This Bridget calling me.
all right.
See what she
Oh
wants.
man, we got to break this down tomorrow too. Allegedly, Hollywood Smothers talked about his reason for transferring or flopping to Texas. I appreciate it. Yeah, jump on tomorrow, please. We got plenty more to talk about.
All right, and wrestling is fake. And
Get out of here, man.
y'all can watch all the fakeness. You just like the what do you call it? WWE. No, what's the boxing thing?
Wait, I mean, you talking about like Jake Paul boxing?
Oh my God, that dude's terrible.
Yeah, I mean that's anyway. Well, jump on tomorrow.
I still get my knees replaced, and everybody else coming back. I'm gonna come back for get one check and get some new insurance.
Well, I mean, Betty Ocko came back from the pro, so I guess
well, so
might
there's
have a shot.
Darius Thornwell. I went to the Gamecock game men's basketball last night against Florida. They got this dude who's like 7'9" on their team. He don't play, but he played against us because we lost by 48 points. But
Wait. You played against who?
Florida. I'm gonna show you the picture of this dude.
Wait, no, but wait. What about you said Sedarian Thornwell? What about him?
He was at the game.
Oh, he wasn't playing. I was about to say, come on, man.
No, but I'm just saying we thought about it. He has another year eligibility, then maybe he can come back.
You're lying. There's no way they would do that.
Now look at this dude right here. He's 7'9". The guy number 0 for us is 7 foot tall, and that's how big he is over him.
Wait, hold on. It went off. But wait, who? That was Florida.
Yeah, this is last night.
That was but Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida beat us by. Catch this. They beat us by 48 points.
Yeah, we got them next, and they were talking about. They said it doesn't matter if we got Betty Ocko, Charles.
They're
Barkley,
good. They're big, man. They are
LeBron
long.
James.
They got 3 7-footers basically that can play.
Damn. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be tuning into that game. We got. I think, matter of fact, we play them this weekend. I think, right? I think Florida's who we got next. Wait, where did this thing go? Hold on. They just posted. The Smothers dude had detailed his transfer or whatever. Oh, we got to talk about this tomorrow. That's low key kind of crazy. Hold on. Returning the potential number 1 overall pick at quarterback, and Alabama was losing their starter and a lot of pieces to the NFL or portal in the wide receiver room. Texas just seemed like they had players in place to go on a run, and an offensive-minded coach who knows how to scheme his weapons open in the run and pass game. What separated things for me was Texas' emphasis on going to win it all, feeling like they shouldn't have been counted out last year in the playoffs.
What was this?
That the running back.
Smothers.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. That's we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I mean, that's kind of painting a picture on. I mean, maybe why some of these guys that we missed on in the portal. I mean,
that ain't it. What he didn't put in there is how much money they gave him.
I mean, that's definitely playing a role, but I mean, you don't think that played any? I know for a fact. I mean, with Cam Coleman, I mean, we made a competitive offer to Cam Coleman, and I believe his.
Well, what do you call competitive offer to Cam Coleman?
I mean, I don't want to get into specifics, but to my understanding, it was It was very competitive.
$3 million a year.
Huh?
$3 million a year.
I mean, I don't know about certain numbers, but I'll just say, I mean, it wasn't as far off as people probably would think. Now, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure they probably had the highest offer, but what I'm saying is, I want to say we were pretty competitive. From my understanding, we were pretty damn competitive from that standpoint. But I think with him being a wide receiver, it felt like that was a little bit of his, I don't know, thinking in that situation.
Well,
but you're
as
right
we
with this
say,
guy. I mean, this guy also just posted an Instagram story of a S-Class Mercedes that I don't know if he was picking up or getting detailed or what. Not pocket watching, but Tia posted a video of it. So I don't know. Yeah, we got to cover this tomorrow too. A little bit more about this. Pete Golden accused of tampering again with another school.
of course they all do it. Who cares, man?
I trust me. I said it today on the show. Just like the fines from Dion. Like, people don't know this, but I mean, like, there's a lot of schools that do stuff like that.
Yeah, you know where to find me. That's what you think you tell them. Holler at me.
He's finding them all right.
You need to find some real players if you're going to try to stay in coaching. All right,
You
chat.
got no choice. Yeah,
Pass
I'm
us
about
out.
to wrap it up. Appreciate all you guys. If we'll talk about this for sure tomorrow. I want to save a little bit of this conversation for tomorrow. I don't want to hit it too early, but we'll do that tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow on here.
Sounds
But
good.
if you guys haven't, man, hit that like button on the way out. We always appreciate that. It just helps us out. I want to say, did we hit our goal? We did. 111. We always have one person that hits dislike, man. It's funny. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. It has to be the same person. It's always one, man. Here's my message. If whoever dislikes the video or whatever, totally you're right to do that. Clearly it's somebody that's just being petty or something, so be it. But if that's what you choose to spend your time on, if you take the time to literally make an effort to go down, it's hard enough to get people just to go make the effort to hit the like button. If you're somebody that just intentionally hits a dislike button on people, there's people's videos that I think are awful, and I never even do that. So I'm like, I don't know what people like. We're just sitting here chilling, talking football. Again, it's normal, but to that one person that loves to do that every day, we still love you. We still welcome you here on the platform. You're always welcome, man. Anyway, that said, yeah, it's got to be it's just Jared Stidham. It is. It's probably just some troll or whatever. But like I said, it's no big deal. It's just funny. I'm like, every single day we always get that one. I'm like, there it is. But we welcome them. We welcome them. Maybe it's an Auburn fan. Who knows? But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 11 Central Time. Appreciate you guys. Be safe. Stay warm out there, and we'll see you guys.